Good morning. And welcome. Welcome to the notification squad. To the early birds. Also, are we live? I should probably check. Let's put this on. Let's put this on. Hello. Let's get a poll going on. Hello. Surge says, morning. What's up, man? Over on the Twitters, huh? That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Want to build a snowman? Yes, but I can't. Yes, but I can't. What is up, everybody? Prison stream? No, not exactly. Not exactly. Not exactly a prison stream. This is my Goku robes. My robes, man. Yeah, it's a robe. Yeah. Nice thumbnail. Thanks. So the deal is, man, and why is it getting hot in here? Now it's getting hot in here. I'm gonna take these freaking robes off, dude. What the fuck? Josh got a shovel butt. What does that even mean? What the hell is a shovel butt? What does that even mean? Jeff Bezos, you have failed me. How did Bezos fail you? Yeah, what does that mean? A shovel butt. A frog butt? How dare you? That's not true. That's not true. I mean, maybe it's a little bit true. Maybe it's a little bit true. Yeah. I'm trying though, man. When you get older, as you age, let me help you guys out. As you get older, as a man, your butt begins to disappear. Yeah. Hey, Mike Hardy, welcome back to the Nerd Avengers, baby. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. Too early, no. Morning, Josh. Haven't watched any of these shows yet, so I'll watch the replay. Oh, it's all good, man. Yeah, no worries. We're not going to get into it right away. I'm having one of those days. It goes into your belly. Yeah, so it like leaves your butt cheeks and it goes into your belly. Dr. Cool says, look at the back of a shovel. That's it. I'm starting Pilates. I am starting Pilates. And that's it. I'm gonna be like one of those Instagram models now, where like all they're known for is their butt. That's gonna be me. I subbed on Twitch, but no option to use the free Bezos bucks for your stream for some reason. Oh, there should be. We have plenty of people that do it. Monarch says, X-Men 97 is fucking amazing. Best MCU Disney Plus show. And loving the look at Unity Chapter 2. Can't wait to get my physical copy. Nerd Avengers for life. Oh, hell yeah, man. The team is cooking on Unity. Hey, Seventh Planet, thanks for the bits. I don't really know what that means, but thank you. So I'm having one of these days, man. Josh, peep my post in the Discord. It'll inspire you. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, man. What is this inspiring me? The field? The open field? What are we talking about here? So I'm having one of those days. All right, I'm getting out of this Discord. Jeez. Do you guys ever have one of those days where you just can't seem to wake up? You can't seem to just get it going. Do some push-ups, bro. That's the last thing I want to do. This will be my third cup of coffee. My third Nespresso. Doesn't look good? It does look good. I'm not going to lie, but it doesn't really, motivate me. No, I have a job. I don't know what that means. Wait, what? I have a job. You guys think that I don't have a job? Man, you guys don't know the struggle. You don't know the struggle, man. I gotta get on stream every day and talk about nerdy stuff, okay? You don't understand how difficult it is to, watch nerdy shows and movies and learn about leaks and spoilers and then report it in an entertaining way. Yeah, I mean, God, the disrespect. But yeah, so I'm just having one of those days, man. That's why I'm in the robe. I was like, fuck it. I'm feeling kind of like a comfy stream. You know what I mean? Like this will be a nice and cozy stream. You know? We need a tour of your house, Josh. See how you really live. I don't think I'm going to do it. I did a house tour when we first moved in. But, yeah, probably not anymore. Yeah, well, my response is try working for Elon Musk. Ooh, that's a tough one. I've heard some of the people that are no longer. I've been hearing some stories about Tesla and some stuff like that. It's kind of sad, man. The whole tech industry, and I don't know. They're technically an automobile company, but they're kind of like a tech company too. There's been a big crunch. A lot of people losing their jobs. Totally sucks, man. I feel for you if you lost your job. Copyright infringement from Coarnage incoming. I don't know what that means. Shovel butt aside. Love you, brother. Hey, thanks, man. And also, ain't no shovel butt back here. Okay? It was just the way the robe was hanging. The robe was hanging in a particular way that made it appear like that. I practically have a bubble butt. A BBL, if you will. Hell yeah. Don't make me start having to do like an OnlyFans or something. Tesla investor relations lead announced he's leaving on quarterly call last night. Ooh. Yeah, that's a tough one. Look, I'm trying to get into a better habit of not being such an insufferable prick all the time when I talk about stuff. So, like, for instance, I have a lot of thoughts. I think you guys know how I feel about Elon. But I just don't think it's good to, like, put out negative energy or to, like, linger on stuff or, like, make it a thing. So I don't know what all of that is like, but I will say this. I don't feel super confident in Tesla's ability to navigate what's going on right now. I'll just put it like that, you know? I'm trying to get away from talking about people and more like talking about the ideas. You know what I mean? Because, like, I could sit here and, like, complain about Elon, but Elon's done a lot of good stuff too, and I think he generally does mean well. But I think some of the ideas that Tesla has, and I think the more correct way to say it is, some of the ways value was attributed to Tesla, I think was based on a world that almost doesn't exist anymore. So I think they're going to have some trouble seeing their way out of this. Rossi, what's up, brother? Hey, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Tylen says, hey, Josh, one, love your vids and your vibe, and I think you're better with the decisions you've made. Thank you, man. Would you be up for promoting a new author's book on a channel? Love you, man. Look, you can hit me up. First of all, I appreciate that. You can hit me up on just email me. Unfortunately, though, I got to tell you, probably not, man. Probably not. So there's multiple things operating here. Number one, I don't really do a lot of ads. And if I do, I'd have to be like paid pretty well to do it. And I don't know if I'd feel, if you're a first time author, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable like asking you to pay for it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't really want to get in the weeds on it, but it's one of those things where technically the real estate of a video, if you think of it like that, the real estate of a video is valuable. And if I start like giving away that real estate for free, it sort of devalues it. There's a lot of considerations into it. But I'll tell you this, send me what you got. You never know what'll happen. I've plugged stuff before. You know, and I've even plugged stuff before for free, and I've had people plug my stuff for free too. So it's not that I'm completely against it, but I'm sort of coming at it from a perspective of probably not. Like, let's not get our hopes up. This chat in the robe, I know, right? This guy in the robe's talking about his real estate on videos and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of funny. This stream has been brought to you by Marcus Slim Jewelry. Yeah, exactly. My problem with Elon is that he tries to tell Iger how to run Disney when he isn't really running his own company that well, in my humble opinion. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, you know, I kind of go back to the thing that Bezos said about him within the past couple of months, where he's like, look, I don't really know Elon, but he's obviously a capable leader. Like, you can't build the companies to the size that he has, and multiple companies at that, without being a capable leader. And I think he's got, you know, I used to be a huge Elon fan, and I really like first principles thinking. I sort of love the idea of I will move things out of the way if there's no physical reason this thing can't be accomplished. I can make that happen. I like that. But I will also say I think Elon has gone off the rails a little bit. And in some ways, I totally understand and appreciate what he's doing, what he's trying to do. There's another part of me that's like, I'm just not so sure that the purported ideas are being backed up with his action. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't want to talk about the people. I want to talk about the ideas, you know? And I think Elon has good ideas, but I also think some of his ideas seem to contradict each other. But yeah, we'll let it shake out. Josh needs a BetterHelp sponsorship. I was actually really close to doing a BetterHelp sponsorship in January. I ended up walking away from it. Would have been a really big, nice chunk of money. But I actually ended up just saying, again, I don't really want to get into it, but I just I didn't feel super comfortable doing it. Great company, though. I think they're a good company. I don't have anything bad to say about the company. Elon ain't wrong that, though, he may want to be running a business right. With what he has said, Iger is not off base. BetterHelp is sus? You think so? Why do you think that? Josh doesn't believe in therapy. Confirmed. No, I believe in therapy. I've been to therapy. I've actually found, personally speaking, and this was, I don't think you would call this therapy, but I talked to a psychologist before, and that was really interesting and really helpful for me. And I think counseling can be really helpful for sure. I think the thing about therapy is sometimes it's really great. Sometimes it's really not great. And And I think like a lot of things, people can misuse it. You know what I'm saying? Elon is too petty? Maybe. I mean, dude, humans are petty, for sure. You know what's been kind of interesting to watch? Has been the change between Elon and Musk. Or, Elon and Musk. You see what I mean, chat? This is why we're in the goddamn robe. Okay, my brain's not working good. I don't know what happened to my noodle. What I was trying to say was the thing that I find interesting has been the whole thing with Zuck and Elon. Like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, right, if we were like, who's your favorite billionaire, you know, it would have been Elon. And I would have said, Zuck sucks and he's probably a lizard. And then 5 years later, if you would have told me that, I'm like, nah, Zuck's kind of the fucking man. And Elon probably needs help. And he needs to chill. Like, real talk, if you would have told me that 5 years ago, it would have blown me away. But that's where I'm at right now. I think Zuck is kind of the man. And I think Elon, little out of control. Little out of control. What's going on with this music? Why are we what's happening here? Why are we so jammed up here? Oh, great. Oh, great. Now we don't even have music on the stream. Well, I hope you're good with uncomfortable silence, chat, because I'm not feeling this dead air. You look like an inmate. Don't you dare. The robe feels different without music. Uh-oh. Well, I'm a little hot. I might have to take the robe off anyway. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room? What elephant? What elephant? What are you talking about? All right, let me try to... God damn it. I can't believe this. I can't believe it's not butter. Y'all remember those commercials? Bro, is this a sign that we should not be streaming today? Is this a sign that, like, it's over and we need to take a day off? We've been doing a lot of streams, you know? Maybe it's time for paid time off. You know? How about this? Why don't you guys send in a bunch of super chats, a bunch of memberships, and like the stream, like the video, comment, reply, talk in chat, and I'm just gonna take a little nap, okay? You know, I'm just gonna do a little chill, just a little chilling here. I'll see y'all in like hours. Yo, no cap, I could just go right now, bro. No cap, I could literally just, man, I could literally do it. I could do it. I felt it, like, I was like, this is a bit, but all of a sudden I said, I gotta take the robe off. Otherwise, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're getting through this shit. All right. Okay. All right. People are getting members and stuff. That's good. That's good. That's good. I like that. That's good. All right, we got a couple soupies coming in here. Hopefully it's not... I haven't looked at the super chats, okay? And look, I always appreciate the support, no matter what. But I'm hoping this... no Star Wars questions. I don't want any Warhammer questions. No Rebel Moon questions. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. You know what I mean? Just kind of throwing that out there. So let's take a look at this. You seen the reviews for the R1 rabbit and the humane pen? I have seen them. They look really cool, actually. The rabbit, particularly, I'm pretty interested in. Dr. Cool with a 5 spot says, I 100% believe Elon is digging tunnels under all of us. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Wouldn't that be wild? He's just got all these tunnels under us. What if he just starts popping up whenever we start talking about him? He just pops up out of a little hole in the ground. That'd be scary. Where's your noodle? Rogue dropped it off a building. Too soon? Oh! Oh, nicely done. Nicely done right there. Let's see here. Rod A, welcome back to the Nerdvengers, baby. Okay. I'm feeling a second wind here, so let's do a little show notes. Couple of things going on tonight at 7:30. We have a members only stream. If you're a member here on YouTube, it'll be pretty easy. It'll pop up for you. You can check the Discord too. We'll throw the link in there. If you are a member on Twitch, what's up to everybody on Twitch? Hello, everybody watching on the Twitters and Kick and all that. If you're a member on Twitch, you're going to have to access the stream tonight via the Discord. We usually have like between a dozen and like 20 people that go over there and do that. You can become a Twitch member essentially for free via the Jeff Bezos bucks. So if you want to be a part of those streams, but you don't got the moolah, just take it from Jeff Bezos and give it to me, right? So that's why we're going to do that. You have homework tonight, and we're going to be going over All-Star Superman and Kingdom Come, 2 of the best Superman stories that have ever been written and drawn and read. So look forward to that. It'll be cool, man. We're going to break down some Superman stuff tonight. We're going to decide what we're going to deep dive on next month. So that's what's going on right now. JJ Lemon gifting a membership. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gifted membership, and appreciate it. Dr. Cool says, Den of skipping leg day. Bro, I've been working out hard, and I'm not skipping leg day right now. You guys are crazy. I've got muscles. Okay, it was the way the robe was hanging. My goodness. Mav, what up, brother? Says, Josh is snoozing in the robe. Should be the image of Chill Hop 24-hour music Den of Nerds channel. Not a bad idea, man. Maybe we'll set something like that up. Rossi says, so what's the deal with Star Wars and Warhammer? I don't want to talk about it. C-Dub gifting 5 memberships. Holy shit. Okay, so I should probably say this while we're getting started here. We are officially trying to drive for memberships. I still got to get something set up so we know where we're at with it, right? But we're basically trying to drive for memberships. We have like a little over 1,000 members right now. If we get to 2,000 members, I'm going to add another permanent day to my streaming schedule. If we get to another 1,000, I'll add another permanent day to the streaming schedule. I will go all the way to streaming 7 days a week if we get all the way up there. And that would be absolutely bananas. That would be super fucking crazy. But I would do it because you guys would be paying me to do it, basically. So that's kind of something we're doing. I wanted to give away more stuff for every 1,000. I think we'll give away another GameStop gift card or something like that. So, yeah, I want to kind of make it fun. Maybe we'll do like a sub-a-thon, member-a-thon eventually as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm supposed to talk about here. Is there anything else I was supposed to talk about? Was it? I feel like there was something else I was supposed to talk about. Why is the Spotify not working, bro? This is really kind of driving me crazy, bro. I just want a little something to listen to. You know what I mean? You know what? Let me try something here. Can I find it? Wait a minute. Now I'm looking on YouTube. It doesn't even have my beautiful thumbnail on the thing that I see right here. What the hell's up with that? What the hell is even that? Is the thumbnail showing up? Anybody? Bueller? Wait, what? Video unavailable. They took off all their... What the... Wait. Just a hot second here. Should we just risk it and play some fun music? Famous last words. You guys want to hear some of my favorite, some songs that I like to bump to? Yo, check this out. Hang on. We'll see. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted right off of the platform. Okay. Check this out. I randomly discovered this a couple of months back, and it's one of my favorite things of music to just chill to it. Maybe if I'm writing or if like I'm playing some kind of game with the homies. Like a couple of weeks ago, before I decided I hate Warhammer, I went down to Pittsburgh and played a bunch of Warhammer with my buddy, and this was one of the songs I put on while we were chilling. It is literally called Music That Makes Whatever You're Doing Better. Let's check it out. Let's give it a little listen here. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. Misa the Beast says, DM me the collector Discord link, please. Thank you. You gotta hit me, dude. You gotta hit me up via Kickstarter. If you message me via Kickstarter, I can get it to you. I can check what it is. There's literally, dude, there was a baby bee just walking across my desk, but it was all like, all right, well, what a weird day. Yeah, DM me on Kickstarter, bro. It all goes through Kickstarter. I'll be able to like verify your shit right there. Josh, tell me I'm wrong about Shogun. Should we talk about Shogun? Cause I'm down. I'm down. I messaged you on Kickstarter. Thanks. Okay, cool. Sounds good. After the stream, man, I'll get on there and get you figured out. This sounds like a game tutorial music. A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Hang on, let me just have a couple more sips of my coffee and then we'll talk about Shogun. What did I think about Shogun? I liked it, but I see what happened with the finale for sure. Okay. Let's talk about Shogun, man. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to pause this dope music so we can talk about Shogun. I guess slight spoilers. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the ending, just not necessarily. Yeah, I guess we got to do spoilers, yeah. We got to do spoilers, chat. I got to talk about Shogun a little bit here. I got to talk about the Shogun. All right, so let's talk about this. Shogun on FX and Hulu. Incredible show. Just had its finale. A lot of people have been kind of getting into the show over the past couple of weeks because I think it's a show that kind of took some people by surprise. It certainly took me by surprise with just how good it was. I really, really enjoyed Shogun. However, a bit of controversy. I don't think it's like really crazy, but I've seen plenty of people very upset about the finale. And the thing is, I think I get it. Like, I think I understand why this happened. Really, this is less of a finale. It's more of like an epilogue, right? It kind of feels like the end of Lord of the Rings, but like one of them, right? So in Return of the King, you have like endings for like 30 different like stories. It just 30 minutes, you're just boom, ending, another ending, more ending. right? So that's kind of like Lord of the Rings. So I feel like Shogun's a little bit about that. The interesting thing is it actually wraps up pretty much everything, okay? But one of the things this finale reveals is that the show is really more about the themes and the characters than it is conflict resolution. It kind of reminds me of some of the stuff we've talked about in the past, where in Japanese culture, right, there's a 4-act structure that is very different than the 3-act structure of the West. And part of this is because this comes from a lot of their ancient writings and their philosophies over thousands of years. And so it's just kind of like in a lot of Eastern media, even modern Eastern media. And manga has that a lot, right? And so you've got a little bit of that going on, where essentially you get a lot of closure of threads, call back to character moments, really, really interesting stuff. So there's a moment, I mean, dude, there's so much closure. There's the closure for the one guy that he earlier on says, "Why tell the future to a dead man?" And Toranaga says it to him before he cuts his head off. He reveals his full plan of how Mariko was able to turn that one lady who basically represents the heir and turn her against Ashido, and to like all of that sort of stuff, and him becoming Shogun. You get that wrapped up. You get the story of the Anjin wrapped up, right? But his story's kind of interesting because they have a flash forward where he's back in Europe with a lot of his stuff from his time in Japan. And so we kind of know he's going to not only survive, but he gets out of Japan. He eventually makes it back to Europe. And that's kind of what happens is you're getting a lot of the threads pulled together, but it does feel anticlimactic. It literally feels anticlimactic because you have all of this buildup, all of this tension, all of these stakes. And I think the show tonally, structurally was very different through most of its season. And then you get to the finale. And again, it is anticlimactic. It is more of an epilogue, kind of just wrapping up the different things and giving you character moments, allowing you to feel the sort of catharsis of these different characters. Like when Mariko's husband helps the Anjin to bring his ship to shore. And then Toranaga's like watching that, kind of shocked and surprised at how they all galvanize around him and actually do bring it to shore. And like, you can see all of these things kind of operating. You can see what Toranaga's plan was. It's I think it actually is a really good ending. The question becomes, though, in the age of hype, right? And in the age of social media, can a show like this do that? I mean, of course they can do it. They literally just did. But what I'm asking is, like, is this going to hurt the show? Because you got a lot of people on social media. You got a lot of people even within our own community that really didn't like it, that feel kind of robbed. And I do understand that because I think the show was kind of building up this hype sort of thing. It felt very close to like Game of Thrones in the way that people were engaging it. Yeah, I guess the question just becomes like, is this going to hurt the show? Will this prevent other people from watching it? Will this prevent the show from resonating in the way that it could? And I'm sort of two minds with it, right? I like it, and I think the show's actually like a really great piece of art, and I think it probably represents that novel really well. From what I understand, this is the exact ending that's in the novel. There's a lot of stuff that's left up for interpretation. You don't see the big battle, but you loosely know the history of Japan and how it all shakes out. So I guess we'll just kind of see, you know, because it's one of those things. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Dave Filoni, because Filoni does a lot of stuff that I think worked much better when the Clone Wars was in its heyday. And I think audiences, especially modern audiences, especially like TikTok audiences and, you know, your Reels audience and the fishbowl kind of mental that people have, right? Will that work? Are people going to respond to it? Or will they reject it? And I guess the jury's out on that, but I'll just say this. For me personally, it works. I really liked it. Like, I really did. I liked it a lot. And I don't really need a second season. I don't really need much more than that. Shogun is probably just going to be one of those shows I revisit maybe once every couple of years or whatever, but something that I get a lot of meaning out of. There's a real Zen philosophy that's kind of like exuded out of this show. And like, it's like the journey is the reward. You're not really on this journey to get that thing at the end. You're in it to experience the characters, the tension, you know, the drama. I think it's actually quite artful. But many of you guys might just be like, fuck that. I feel robbed. Screw Shogun. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What I would love to know what you guys think, though. What do you guys think? Because I know a lot of you guys saw it. Blackthorn was done dirty. In what way? A second season might ruin it, to be honest. I'd rather come to terms like I have with Star Wars. The artfulness is valid. Yeah, for sure. L ending. Thought it was great. Loved it. Did they not have war sequences in the trailer? I don't really know. I didn't really pay attention to the trailers and whatnot too much, you know? Like, I wanted to see the war. Yeah. I think it was dangling the good shit in our Facebook. Yeah, for sure. Like, on the friend request, you just keep getting it from Shogun, and you're like, bro, I don't want to be... Yeah, no, you're right, bro. If you love Shogun, you might love Andor. How dare you? Shogun sucks. I can't believe it. It's not Star Wars. 10 out of 10 for me. Hell yeah. Shogun had 0 cereal. That's true. Underwhelming? I think that's fair, dude. I think that is absolutely fair. If you were underwhelmed by it, like, again, like, it's totally valid, bro. Like, if that's the way you feel. And I got to tell you this. Very early on in the episode, because I saw some people, you know, these days you can't totally avoid conversation and speculation about this stuff. So I saw some people on Twitter already a little bit upset. I think Rossi was tagging me in Discord yesterday. And he was like, bro, we got to talk about Shogun because I'm pissed. You know? So I think a lot of people did have a negative reaction for it, right? And as I was watching it, about 15 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. Like, I get it. Dude, it's that kind of an ending. You know what I mean? And I could just feel some people, because, some of it depends on the mood I'm in. Some of it depends on expectations. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I think brings us to the story in a way that, like, as an example, I remember one time I watched a movie in theaters and I was next to some really annoying people and it affected the way I viewed the movie. Sometimes it's like environment has something to do with how we, you know, perceive the media or whatnot. But for whatever reason, about 15 minutes in, I was like, okay, this is what we're getting. And I just let it happen. I just kind of let it wash over and I was accepting of it. But if you didn't, and you were like, that's valid too. That's cool. Rossi, 20 spot. Hey, man, very generous. I appreciate the support, man. Says, that wasn't a flash forward. It's what could have been Dream from Explosion. He drops Mariko's necklace in the ocean on the boat, which symbolizes letting go of the West. The necklace can't be in the future. He stays. Interesting. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so I suppose you could interpret it that way. I wonder if the author of the book has ever confirmed or denied that. Because that's kind of a cool take for sure. Bro keeps saying no Collins like shit hurts or something. Wait, what? What are we talking about? What are we talking about that? Don't talk about that. Yeah, everyone is expecting some battle of the bastards. It was Littlefinger kind of war. Yeah, that's true. I think that's fair. It's his dream? You think it's a dream? I enjoyed watching Shogun's finale with my fairly mustache-wearing beret, drinking red wine and cheese, thinking about the Renaissance. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Game of Thrones has rot yo brain dwarfs. I don't know what that means, but you're right. Nah, that's exactly what happens. They talked about the dream sequence on the Shogun podcast. Oh, so it's a dream. Wow. Huh. That's kind of cool. I might have to rewatch it now. Just ignore it. I'm just talking to bitch-ass Nico. Hey, look, why don't you and Nico get along? Okay? I heard you and Nico have beef, and guess what we do here? We hug it out. So I'm going to need you guys to get in the same room together and hug it out. So just let me know after you do. IRL, there was a real battle. So, yeah, no, there was a real battle. Can't you just imagine the battle in your mind? Hot D in 6 weeks? Woo! Woo! No hugging in the tower. Can you hug me out? Yeah, absolutely. Guys, no, that's all we do is hug in the tower. It's just mandatory hugs. It's historical fiction. What is X-Men 97? All right, you can take the spoiler tag off. I mean, what's there to spoil anyway? You know what I mean? They didn't do shit in that finale. I ain't hugging that dude. Why not? Why not? Just a little man-to-man embrace and a nice little squeeze. You know what I mean? No big deal. I wish we could have had at least one battle scene with the armies that were set up in the show instead of people sitting around talking rooms for 5 straight episodes. There is a lot of talking in rooms. I won't deny that. I find it to be pretty intriguing. I felt like the show was paced pretty brilliantly. But the finale is a bit different. So, nothing wrong with that. Bruh. Bruh, what? 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 Bruh, what? 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 Bruh. Just use your imagination. Talking in rooms is good now, eh? I mean, it can be. Depends on how it's executed. Depends on how it's executed. Okay, guys. Here's a thing. Here's a thing. So, at some point today, and I got to check my text. At some point today, Rob is supposed to come on and educate us about X-Men 97. Here's the thing about X-Men 97. I watched it. I liked it. But my brain is a little bit fried, so I still don't even fully understand what the fuck happened. So we've got to copy Paul's homework. So let's watch Paul's breakdown of X-Men 97, and we'll take all the good ideas, and we'll act like we came up with all of this shit. And then when Rob gets in here, we'll never bring it up. Sound good? Woo! Let's go, baby. Oh, and also I gotta... Hang on. Hang on, everybody. All right, you ready? Pretty much, they wanted to find who was responsible. Rogue was pissed. Captain America's. Yeah, I watched it. I watched it, man. Yeah. So, spoilers for X-Men 97, guys. Spoiler warning. Also, look at Paul. We got a kind of strange pause here, where he's in the bottom of the screen. I'm going to throw something out there. Okay? And you guys let me know if you agree. I'm going to throw something out there. Kind of a whimsical idea here, but I think you'll be feeling it. Just Blue Eye Samurai, your unofficial sequel? What does that mean? Oh, that's the unofficial sequel? What? Okay. I think Paul, in every video, should have that image of his face down there. Just the whole video. Just dead ass in the middle of the video like that. In fact, let me try something here. We're basically twins. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, Paul. What? How you doing over there? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see what Paul has to say. Thanks, I hate it. Oh. All right.
It's Paul. In this video, we're breaking down X-Men 97. Episode 7's now out, and throughout this video, we're going to try and be up to the task to bring you a big breakdown of the entry.
Sinister.
Sinister things are happening in the Marvel Universe, and throughout this video, I want to be a bastion in breaking it down. This will cover Easter eggs, hidden details, and our theories for the future as we head towards that finale. We know the next 3 episodes are all part of a 3-parter called Tolerance's Extinction.
Now we know that. You know what I mean? Now we know that. So let's take some notes so we can act educated when Rob gets on. Okay, so we're ending with the 3-parter. Good.
And from this point, it all kicks off. Heavy spoilers ahead, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out, then I highly recommend that you check out now. If you enjoy the video, please hit the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for our breakdowns every week. Without the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into episode 7. Now, as always, we get a couple of additional shots in the opener. This includes a clip of Cable's war against Apocalypse, which is happening close to the year 4000. Nimrod also continues his appearance from inside Master Mold, with us getting a shot of Bishop, then taking him down. We'll talk about Nimrod and Bastion later in the video, but I feel like this is all leading towards Messiah Complex. Starting off at a graveyard, we see the funeral for Gambit and the fallen X-Men from the events of Genosha. Now, the episode is titled Bright Eyes, which is summing up pulls from the original series. This went down in Time Fugitive Part 2, in which Rogue said it to Cable.
Remember me, Bright Eyes?
Cable has played a big part.
Loved Cable in this episode, bro. So good.
On the series, with us pretty much watching his origin story. That's always been a bit convoluted in the comics, and it was so complex they even dropped covering it during Deadpool 2. They realized it was too much and instead skipped over the planned flashbacks and images of Cyclops and Jean or Madeline in Cable's home in the future. Here, though, they're going fully into it, with us seeing his birth and then his journey to the future.
Whoa.
I love how when he came back, the first person he ran up to and stopped was Madeline, and it shows the true person he's trying to save, which is, of course, his mother.
Yep.
Now, here we can catch Nightcrawler as the priest, with the character being heavily religious. He's often depicted as living in a church before joining the X-Men, with his appearance in X2, of course, echoing that. The series also had that as well, with him lying low at one. The local villagers thought he was a demon, and in the end, he was saved by Rogue and Gambit. So it makes sense why he'd want to lead this ceremony, and it's a somber way to start things off. Joining him are also the Assassin's Guild, with Belladonna being in attendance.
I thought it was a Thieves Guild, but yeah, no, it's probably Assassin's Guild for show.
The card puns are out in full force, and while they're grieving, Rogue's getting angrier than ever. And we then segue into a scene that was released.
It was a really good speech. They wrote that well for Nightcrawler. The writing is just so top-notch in the show. But, yeah, I thought it was good. And then she's nowhere to be found, and Jubilee's all upset, and Logan's like, what did he say? Like, grief is a solo war, or a war you have to fight on your own, or something like that. It was good stuff for show.
Early last night by the good folks at Phase Zero. Shout out to them, bloody great bunch of people, and it was awesome seeing them get an exclusive clip early. We really see Rogue tearing up shop, and sometimes you forget how overpowered she is.
Yeah,
she absorbed the abilities of Captain Marvel and is capable of bringing it all down. Punching the ground, this knocks lots of soldiers down, with this being the powers that she took from Avalanche. She also busts out a kick that's a clear callback to a lot of things. This is based off her dive kick that was first introduced in X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Yeah, Paul, nice.
And then later used in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Dude,
might
Marvel
know-
vs. Capcom's so good. Hey, chat, quick question. Is there like a way I can play Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Like, I can't find it anywhere. Is there like a crazy community of people that still plays Marvel vs. Capcom 2? And we can go play with them? Yeah. Yeah. Emulate it? But, like, do people play on the emulator or what? Just imagine playing it? Jesus.
It as a rider kick or an Eva kick, with it appearing in lots of different things. Rider kicks are big moves, and seeing Rogue get hurt as well made it such a cool scene. Seeing the surveillance, we then cut out to see General Ross watching over the monitors, talking about how this
that
place
was cool, man. It was cool to see Ross, and it was great that he had a mustache. Looking at you, Harrison. What the fuck?
was built to hold the Hulk. This location featured heavily in the Red Hulk storyline. I won't spoil who the Red Hulk is in case you haven't read it, but it took place after the events of World War Hulk. Banner was put in a cell underground, but a new Red Hulk was roaming on the surface. They had to go to Banner for advice, with his cell being something that we visited. Breaking in, Rogue then mentions her father, who raised her in Mississippi. Known as Owen, both her parents wanted her for nefarious things, so it makes sense they talked to her about breaking into prison. Cut to Scott talking to the UN, who we've
Talking about optics here, which was pretty clever. Pretty cool.
And have abandoned the rescue attempt. Due to optics, they can't help dig out the bodies, and we see Magneto's statue has been destroyed. Symbolically, this shows his fall there as well, with the character being seemingly killed last week by the Sentinel. Coming in, we see Jean with her hair down, and I was wondering if this was a cheeky misdirect. This used to be used as an indicator to retroactively show if it was Madeline, with the opening credits having her with that. The pair also held hands at the funeral, but it looks like they're just coming together. Checking over the reports, we see they come from WHIH News, with this being a big in-universe news station that are also part of the MCU. They cover a range of things and are pretty much the go-to for news reports in the Marvel Universe. Scott says that in the wake of the mutant genocide, they need Hope, which could be a reference to Hope Summers.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice? Dude, Hope Summers is real cool. Real cool.
That kind of takes us into Messiah Complex, which builds off the back of House of M. In what's one of the most famous panels in comic history, we watched as one uttered the words "no more mutants." This led to the population of mutants going from millions to hundreds in just a blink of an eye. However, during Messiah Complex, mutant genes began to reactivate, with the first one of these being Hope Summers. Immediately drafted into a political war, she was seen as someone who could revitalize the mutants. The humans wanted her because they didn't want the mutants to come back, and there was lots of different sides battling over this girl. Attacked by the Purifiers in her hometown Alaska, we saw as these were led by the villain Nimrod. The Purifiers believed she'd wipe out countless humans during what they called the 6-Second War, leading to a rivalry between humanity and mutants. This belief is also held by Bishop, who aimed to stop Cable from saving the child, as it led into the dark future that Bishop had come from. The Marauders and X-Men were also seeking the child too, leading to a big power struggle in which both sides were attempting to get the first post-House of M mutant. Now, while it appeared Mr. Sinister was behind the hiring of Marauders, it was revealed to actually be Mystique.
Ooh.
She was told by her former lover Destiny that if the baby touched Rogue, it would revive her from her coma. This led Mystique to employ the Marauders as Sinister to get the baby for herself. Thankfully, the baby survived the touch of Rogue, whilst also waking her up. Hope was then entrusted to Cable by Cyclops, and the pair went into the future, kind of akin to how Bishop traveled with Cable at the end of episode 3. Down the line, this led into Avengers vs. X-Men, which I'd love to see them adapting.
I would love to see them adapting it.
Further seasons of the show.
Yeah.
And the Blackbird lands on Genosha, and we see the Blob, Pixie, and also Multiple Man. He's got his multiples doing multiple jobs, which I thought was a nice little touch. He played a big part of Messiah Complex, with 2 versions of him traveling into the future to report on what's happened. Beast also talks to Amelia Vaught, who is a member of the Acolytes. Giving a harrowing tale about how surviving isn't all it's cracked up to be, we see our lives have been completely destroyed by the attack. Following on from the reports at the X-Mansion, we see Patricia Tilby joining the scene. She and Beast have had a big romance in the comics, which we see blossoming here. From here, we cut out to a massive...
Oh, shit, Captain America. Yo, what did you guys think of Captain America in here? I thought it was pretty awesome. They pack a lot into these episodes, bro. These episodes are only about a half hour long. My God, they've got a lot of shit going on.
cameo with Captain America and his old World War II bike being parked outside the hut.
Hell yeah.
This is something that he rode in the first Avenger, with it being a big part of the action scene in the woods. So good seeing him in the episode, and it really helps to expand the Marvel Universe. He is of course an arm of the government, but like Rogue, he's went against them as well. Civil War seen him turning against the Superhuman Registration Act, with mutant registration also being a hot topic. On the lookout for Gyrick, we see a secret compartment below the cabin, which is akin to the reveal in Winter Soldier. There's databanks at the back, and it's a similar layout to the Secret Shield basement.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Here we see on the screen there's OZT, which stands for Operation Zero Tolerance. Now, the big villain going forward is obviously Mephisto. Now, in the end, we learn that it's Bastion, who is a former from Nimrod. I love that name, Nimrod, because in the UK, it's an insult. You bloody Nimrod. Anyway, Botomeos hinted to this on Twitter, and we saw the villain in the intro last week. Bastion was seen back in episode 4, and we could catch a photo of Forge standing next to the character.
True.
Now, Bastion's a machine who's a fusion between Master Mold and Nimrod, the former of which we could see in the pair of the intro of last week. Bastion was part of Operation...
Man, didn't we all think... We thought one of us was going to get $1,000 from Rob, you know?
Zero Tolerance, which involves Sentinels wiping out the mutants. He's basically a mutant-hating machine who was embroiled in the Messiah complex as its main antagonist who sought to wipe them out. This is what Rogue finds here, with it clearly being a reference to that. This might explain why Bastion was with Forge, and potentially...
Also, this is just kind of a fun, deep cut as well. There's one of my favorite Marvel Elseworld characters named Crusader, who is the daughter of Steve Rogers and Rogue. This is from an alternate reality where they never leave Battleworld. And so Rogue and Captain America end up banging. And Crusader, she has her father's shield, and she's worthy, so she ends up carrying Mjolnir as well. She's pretty badass.
The anti-mutant weapons that were designed by the character. Bastion's basically a mutant-hating machine who was embroiled in the Messiah complex as its main antagonist who sought to wipe them out. Captain America's hands are tied though, and though he says where Gyrick is, he can't help out yet. Love how Rogue just throws away his shield with some...
It was so funny. That moment had me laugh out loud when she just hucks his shield into the mountain. I was like, what a bitch, bro. But I mean, it's so funny. It's so Rogue. And it's like the worst thing you can do to Steve. They need to do a post-credit scene of him just like walking through the mountain trying to find it. That shit was so funny.
Some proper kicking away the ball because you lost the game energy. Back on Genosha, we see Strongman and can also catch the character Forearm working in the back as well.
Yeah.
Strongman says there's gonna be a war, so you better bloody stop bulking up, mate. Roberto doesn't really want to be involved with this stuff, and it's clear that he isn't ready for battle. He hasn't come out to his parents yet and wonders what would have happened if he died. They would have found out he was a mutant through that, and he argues that these attacks go ahead because people don't stay hidden. However, that's pretty stupid in the end, and you can't hide away forever who you are. So Jubilee tells him she'll go with him, and we see people mourning the dead. This includes the Morlocks, who have repeatedly appeared throughout the season. Magneto saved them in episode 2, and then seemingly died with them in episode 5. Beast quotes Martin Luther King in front of the destroyed Xavier head.
Bro, I really liked the dialogue here. I thought this was brilliant, because I think they both have a point. It's also interesting because you start to see a little bit of Dark Beast building, which is like brilliant. But both of them have a point here, and I think that's what's really good and important. I think one of the issues with like political messaging in movies and television, at least recently, has been it's pretty obvious to know the perspective of like the writer, and it doesn't feel supernatural to just kind of bring real world perspective and try to force that as the perspective of every character. I think really good writing acknowledges that most people do not think of themselves as the villain. And so therefore there is a perspective and a way that they see the world that to them is valid. And I think a good writer understands that that is way more important and natural than just projecting my own beliefs or someone's beliefs into every character, right? This is why certain things like even postmodernism or deconstruction, sometimes it can be really good. And sometimes it can feel like somebody's pet project of like tearing something down and making it into what they have always wanted it to be, which is not just bad writing, it's selfish and it's stupid. So again, I thought this scene was dope, man. I thought it resonated with me. I was like, this is cool.
Symbolizing how his dream for mutant inhumanity hasn't worked out. We see a real change in the character, and if they lose him, it shows how mutant kind might also decide to go to war. This change is shown metaphorically with Gyrick, who we see surrounded by butterflies. Butterflies are a symbol of change, with the mentality of the characters changing. However, some figures go through literal...
The Heimlich scream from that movie. Whew! So good.
Changes too, with Trask becoming a human sentinel. Anyway, Rogue confronts Gyrick, and he reveals he's been outfitted with anti-psychic tech. Rogue doesn't care though, and she absorbs him directly with us, initially getting a flash of Bastion. This then changes to Nimrod, which was its own transformation, just like the butterflies. Picking up on the psychic echoes, we see flashes of Genosha, including a shot of Madeline. Alongside it are Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost, and it seems like Jean's seeing things through the eyes of rats. They would have been witness to the attack, and it then kind of segues into basically Cyclops and Jean going on a bit of a bummer. They haven't had the best of times, mate, and she references her seeming deaths at the hands of the Phoenix Force and so on. Finding Emma Frost, they then say that she activated her second mutant ability. This is the way that she can transform into a
Yeah, so this is really cool because the secondary mutations, this is also something from Grant Morrison's X-Men. I also found this kind of interesting because he thinks when Jean finds the telepath, Scott thinks it's Madeline, and he's like excited. And there's like this catharsis between him and the real Jean about what Madeline meant to him. And ironically, Scott and Emma go on to have a thing, and Emma actually kind of helps rebuild the psyche of Scott, and she intimately understands why he is so broken. So it's pretty cool because it's like operating on many different levels, you know?
Diamond form, which was invented by Grant Morrison. This went down because Morrison wanted to use Colossus in a scene, but they realized that they couldn't. So he just invented it that mutants could also have a second power, with her getting hers here. Emma is a psychic as well, so it explains why Jean was able to pick up on her. Getting a direct message from Bolivar Trask, he first appeared in Night of the Sentinels Part 2. After the Sentinel program was shut down, Trask ended up traveling to Genosha in order to build Master Mold, but this ended up turning against him. The X-Men in the end stepped in to save the day, and he went into hiding until popping up at the start of episode 1 in the season. Now if you want to support the channel, then definitely check out our merch store below the video. We've just launched an X-Men 97 inspired.
That shirt looks cool. J Mike Gaming says the nuance they have in this show towards political beats is incredible. Very well handled. You know what wasn't handled well? Rebel Moon Part 2. Okay.
T-shirt with a little nod to my favorite part from episode 1. As always, we have our Theory Time ones on there, and we've just dropped a brand new Game of Thrones inspired one as well to get you guys ready for the upcoming House of the Dragon Season 2. These t-shirts have been modeled and designed to accentuate the best part of your body, so they're tight around the chest and loose around the waist. Woo! You're gonna look bloody fantastic, mate, and huge thank you to everyone who's picked one up so far. Now, Trask wants them to come to Madripoor, which is a big location in the Marvel Universe. Yeah. This crime-infested locale is one of Wolverine's haunts, with it being a place that showed up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Across with Roberto, we see him going to his parents' penthouse, which is adorned with butlers and Jackson Pollock-type paintings. His parents' company was referenced in episode 1, where we could see a sign for them up in Times Square. His mother's accepting of it, though, and said she always knew, with parents being more accepting of stuff like that these days. You know, well, you know, most, but it's clearly a metaphor for coming out, with this also being something explored in X2. However, she wants him to keep it quiet, showing that she perhaps isn't as tolerant and supportive as she'd like to be. Cutting to Rogue, we then see Nightcrawler coming across.
But even that's like complex, and I think that's just a sign of really mature writing, is like it, rather than try to make a clear-cut point, explain the perspective of the characters and allow the audience to put it together for themselves. In some ways, this avoids being super controversial because it's like a Mad Lib where you can just put in all the things you care about and all the things you don't like and just make it make sense to you in that way. But I also think it's just interesting because as I was watching the scenes with the parents, it's sort of like at first you're like, oh, wow, like that's really cool. And she's really understanding. And then you're like, oh, wait, nah, but she's still going to do the perception thing. And then you realize, and this is one of the things for me, I was like, man, that's kind of interesting because I live in a world and I, because of what I do, where even like I can't just go off the handle and say whatever I want, or I can't like I am incumbent at least a little bit to my audience, right? And so like I can kind of understand that. And if in this example, if you were a publicly traded company and considering what was going on right there, if you had like a mutant child, like yeah, that would definitely rock the boat from the business side. And there's like a separation of the maternal and the business. And you might think it's bullshit. You might be like, oh, that sucks. Like, dude, no, she's horrible. But I think other people might be like, I understand she's actually in a tough spot. I really do think that is good writing. You know what I mean? It just allows you to kind of process it however you want to process it,
Crosshair. It's the Day of the Dead, but whereas this is normally supposed to be a time of acceptance, Rogue can't do it. Maybe you shouldn't have kissed Magneto in front of Gambit then, love. You ruined his last moment. Good thing I'm not there, mate, because I'd have ruined it as well, but Nightcrawler says Rogue helped them live. Cutting to Gyrick, we then see Bastion arriving. Voiced by Theo James, he sounds more sinister than sinister, and the first act we see him doing is killing Gyrick. Cutting to Madripoor, we see signs for VistaCorp, who own the news station of WHIH. The Hammer Tech building is also there too, and we also have Horizon Labs. This is a big company in the Marvel Universe, with it predominantly appearing in Spider-Man. Using another secret gateway, we see the hybrid of humanoid sentinels, and more things pointing towards Operation Zero Tolerance. Quoting Oppenheimer after he made the atom bomb, Trask reveals that he's unwittingly ushered in a new dawn of destruction.
Yep.
He brings up how Sinister's been working on Trask, and this explains why Bastion needs him. We have talked about Sinister a hell of a lot earlier in the season, but here's a quick rundown in case you missed that. As Morph mentioned, he was a scientist in the 1800s, and he went under the name Nathaniel Essex. Obsessed with evolution, he studied Darwin, but had his own theory time about what was going on. Essex believed that evolution stemmed from untapped powers, and he believed evolution could alter humanity. Now, at the time in his personal life, Nathaniel was married to a woman named Rebecca, but unfortunately the pair had lost their only child. That was the driving force for him to try and find a way to improve humanity so that others wouldn't have to deal with that kind of pain. After the death of his son, he brought his findings to the rest of the other scientific minds who kicked him out of the club due to what he wanted to do. He believed human experiments were fair game because, in the end, the discoveries would improve the species. So he assembled a gang known as the Marauders, who took homeless people and gave them to him so he could carry on his work. One of these was Daniel Summers, who I'm guessing you can figure out who it is he's related to. Sinister would become obsessed with the family and study several of them and the untapped power in their genetics. Rebecca came across the experiments and discovered that Essex had dug up their son's body and worked on him too. Pregnant at the time, she then went into labor and lost too much blood in the process.
Damn.
Her final words condemned him for his sinister double life, and she said he was very sinister, which, hey, she said the name.
Sinister.
Now, it was at
Nice.
this time that he came across Apocalypse, who wanted to create a worldwide plague that would kill most of humanity. This is the techno-organic virus, which we saw Nathan infected with. Only the strong would survive, and it would reshape the world for Apocalypse. However, in a twist of fate, Sinister used it on Apocalypse, who had to return to hibernation in order to heal his wounds. Realizing he'd need someone who could combat the villain, he cloned Jean Grey in order to have it so she'd have a kid with Cyclops, who could then be the most formidable mutant to stand against the villain. Sounds like a long one, but that's it, and it's probably going to lead us into the Messiah Complex story down the line.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Now, Rogue drops Trask like people drop likes on the video.
Also here, like, I don't know if you guys thought this, but I was like, so Nightcrawler's not going to save this? Like, we're just going to watch Rogue kill this guy.
Oh, and it again shows how the mutants aren't playing around. They don't want to work together anymore and would rather just kill some
Logan's
peeps, but
like,
we see how this leads into something worse. Revived as a human sentinel, Trask goes on the attack and then destroys the building.
Yeah, it was
during
cool.
some of the flashes, we can
This
catch
action
stock
sequence was
industries,
really
which we
cool.
get during the falling shots. Transforming into Quicksilver, we see his morph takes on his powers, which wasn't something I was aware that could happen. I'd just be Apocalypse the whole time, mate, and one-shot everyone. Saved by Cable-O, he's got futuristic weapons, which are capable of taking down the Sentinels with ease. In the future, Cable was fighting a war against Terminator-like machines, which were another direction of Apocalypse.
And I love Cable. I love the Cable character. This was really cool Cable moment.
So it makes sense that he'd be able to do this with it all going down in Time Fugitives Part 1 and 2. That took place in the year 3999, which was a darker future for mutant kind that played off the Days of Future Past timeline. However, the world started to fall apart, which we learned was because Bishop had changed things in the past. Thus his timeline was being wiped out, and we saw as Bishop arrived in his present. That took him to 2055, where he learned things that still turned out badly. Rather than leading into Days of Future Past, a plague had spread across the world and killed major chunks of humanity. The mutants were blamed, but it was the techno-organic virus, and thus Bishop travelled back in time in order to stop it from spreading. Part 1 was about him learning who was behind it, with him then stopping Apocalypse at the end. However, this destroyed Cable's reality even more, and it wiped out his son Tyler. So he travelled back in order to stop Bishop, thus meaning he had to help out Apocalypse. Gets complex, but his computer said millions had to die in the past, so billions could live in the future. Realizing that they needed to create the antibodies and allow the plague to still be unleashed, Cable used Wolverine because of his healing factor. This meant that Apocalypse could still be defeated, whilst also preserving things in the future. Bishop returned to find his future still in ruins though, and thus time travel often creates more issues than it fixes.
True.
Now, I wonder if they're going to address that.
That's why Doctor Doom doesn't really fuck with it. Doctor Doom in the Marvel Universe, he's like the guy that invents time travel. And he does a little bit of time travel, but he eventually realizes you do not want to fool with time. So he stops doing it.
And they may have ushered in an even darker timeline by possibly allowing Bastion to rise up. Cutting to Sinister and Bastion, the latter brings up how he's failed since '92 to beat them. The show started in 1992 as well, which is a nice little reference. Yeah. Turns out that he's been spying on the Shi'ar, which we talked about more last week. I'm not going to recap that, but yeah, I'm guessing we're going to go back to them. Cutting to dilapidated streets, this looks like where Trask ran through last week. Yep. Putting on a record, this is Sheb Woodley's The Purple People Eater. Yep. This is about an alien descending from the sky.
And this song got stuck. Anybody else have this shit stuck in your head? Anybody else? This has been this was stuck in my head immediately after watching it.
In order to consume humans. Here, though, we have a purple figure coming down to wipe out mutants, and we see he has Magneto with an inhibitor collar on. Shaving him, it's clear the next step of his plan is getting the mutants to become his weapons, and yeah, big way to end the entry. Now,
definitely
I have a theory time.
Theory it up. Theory time it up.
He might actually be making Onslaught.
Oh my God.
Onslaught's basically a sentinel created from the consciousness of Professor X and Magneto.
Bro, I like this theory. Oh my God, Paul. I'm stealing this theory. This is my theory. Go on Twitter. Josh from Den of Nerds has a crazy theory about Onslaught. But let me figure out what the rest of my theory is.
Oh, and it could be a big character to have showing up in the series. This would be one of the most powerful things on Earth, and if Bastion's making that, it's going to spell hell for the future of the series. Onslaught is such a big figure too, and yeah, seeing this pop up in the series would be a massive way to take things. Anyway, that's anything time. Now, as for next time, like I said, we are going to be getting a big 3-parter finale. These will be titled Tolerance is Extinction, with part 1 running from next week until the finale. Woo! The synopsis are as follows. The X-Men must unite to face a new threat for part 1. Part 2 says the X-Men work to settle the score before it's too late. The final one says the X-Men's dream is put to the test as mutant-human relations reach a tipping point. So lots of things going down, and I feel due to the idea of tolerance being extinction, that we're going to have lots of things happening with Magneto. He's always been someone who sees working alongside the humans as something that will usher in the end of mutants. This is due to humanity fearing them, and they'll always do things to try and erase them. Charles is obviously alive and kicking, and thus, he's probably going to take over the position of the leader, and Magneto might go back to his old ways. We will see, though. They are doing lots of interesting things with the characters, and leave your comments.
I would love to do Onslaught, do Avengers versus X-Men leading into Onslaught. Woo! Damn, dude, that would be fire. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good video by Paul, as always.
Below, and what you thought of the episode.
Yeah, thought it was good. I thought it was real good, chat. What do you think? Oh, man, I would love it if we got some Onslaught. Whew! Finally saw your comment. Appreciate the thought, though. Oh, you're not talking to me? Man, this show is so good. Even if it's only 2 seasons, I agree. I hope it's more than 2 seasons, but it's certainly one of the most impressive things Marvel Studios has done. I think, period. You know, period. But certainly in the last couple of years, for show. For show. Onslaught should lead into the reboot. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Why can't you be that smart? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't know what the hell's going on in chat. Some people are having a whole crazy conversation about some crazy shit. I don't know what the hell's going on. What are you guys even fighting about? Stop fighting. No fighting in chat. All creators have a bias. Case closed. Yeah, no, I think everybody has bias. For sure. Absolutely. I think everybody's got bias. So this weekend is C2E2, huh? The Chicago Con? So I guess we missed that one. Sorry, guys. That's kind of cool, though. No one is fights. LOL. Okay. By the way, you keep typoing, Kendall, and I keep not reading. I keep reading it the typoed way. I don't know if you noticed. I just wanted to point out that that's what I'm doing. Just so you know, that's what I'm doing. What's going on with my hair? Hey, I'll be at C2E2. That's awesome, man. I hope you have a good time. Twitch Coast Nerd Avengers says Captain BTY over on Twitch. Appreciate you, man. Josh making Kendall look bad? No. I would never do that. Kendall's just talking gibberish, man. I don't know what's going on. I thought I was having a tough day. Should I get tacos for lunch? Tacos for lunch sound pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I might have to get some tacos too. I need to be best. Yes. Where's Rob? I'll check his text, but he could be working on a video. He could be doing something else. Yeah, we'll be chilling. We'll probably go for at least another hour, even though I'm like dragging today. Apologies. How do you think Cap's going to get his shield back? He's going to go into the mountains and he's going to say, gee, Williker, this is a stinky situation. And he's going to just look around. Be best phrase? What? I don't know what you're talking about, brother. Formerly known as I'm Bitler. What? You sound like you've ate lunches. I have eaten a few lunches. Yeah, true. Let's watch a culty video. He's going to be in the mountain for days. Yeah, I mean, he might be. He certainly could be. Guys, I've been kind of thinking, can you believe they're doing that TikTok ban for real? Can you guys believe they're actually doing the TikTok ban? Like, I kept saying, like, I was like, yeah, screw it. Fucking TikTok's the worst. Get it out of here. But now it's like actually happening. And I'm like, damn, dude, that seems like a little too much. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably for the best too, but also like here's I think the take, okay? There's a lot of stuff our government sort of drags their feet on. There's like a lot of stuff that feels like it's not a real priority. And I think like the thing that's really like kind of tripping me up with this one is like, bruh, they actually, like, the government actually did something. What the fuck is happening? The government's actually doing stuff. People are actually pulling together. It's like a bipartisan thing, and they're actually going to get rid of it or make it them divest. It's like they kind of lean forward. And it's like, okay, well, why that and not like the million other things that are wrong? Just kind of seems a little weird. You know what I mean? I think that's a valid criticism or whatever. Meanwhile, they're like spying on everybody like it's hard. Yeah. Cap mentions his team will move in once they get word. Yeah? So you think the Avengers are going to come help him find his shield? That would be pretty cool. There are infinite other problems to worry about, but also fuck TikTok. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I never use TikTok, probably because my brain is already smooth liquid. Oh, nice, bro. How'd you get your brain so smooth and liquidy? Mosh Jathews, what's up over on Twitch, man? Appreciate you. Let's do some coke. I'm chilling. I'm all right. Rossi says VPN law they are sneaking in the bill is super sis. You mean super sus? I believe it. I mean, if you're going to sit here and tell me that legislation being passed is super sus, I'm going to sit over here and be like, yeah. That don't surprise me. Where are the aliens? Probably all around. Probably in the room with you right now, to be honest. Yo, I got a fun video that we can watch. Give me 1 second. I got something I think we can check out. And I forget who sent me this, so I need to... Is it this guy? Is it this guy? Oh, here we go. This is a half-hour long video? Oh, well. I think we might have to check this out. Let's see. This video is called "The Making of the MCU Was a Shit Show." And this is part 3, but it's talking about like phase 2. And the guy that sent me this was like, yeah, they talk about the James Gunn thing and how he didn't want the co-writer and that whole beef with the co-writer on Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, what the hell is going... Hang on 1 second here. Why is... Fit to screen. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, the other video was all weird too, but I just figured it out. What's with the music, brother? I feel like I'm in a massage waiting room. That's because you are in a massage waiting room. I'm gonna get you. Warming up my hands, bro. All right, let's pause that. Let's check this video out. Maybe we'll like it, maybe we won't.
After the tremendous triumph that was the Avengers, Marvel Studios was set to take on the world with the next phase of their MCU. However, Marvel's overconfidence and troublesome micromanagement had them crashing face first into their own hubris, while also fighting an internal battle with their corporate overlords hell-bent on selling toys.
Now, this is fascinating because a lot of people talk about, the fall off in phase 4 and phase 5, and I always point to phase 2. I always talk about phase 2, and I'm like, yeah, well, they've been through this before. They've had these kind of problems happen before.
First wave of Phase 2 angered many of their filmmakers, who would call Marvel's process a shit show.
I'm Groot.
Yeah, you said that.
For better or worse, the Avengers in 2012 changed cinema. The near-perfect melding of separate film franchises.
Nevin, I appreciate the love, brother. I talked about Shogun. I did a whole thing. I'll put it up on the Clips channel later, or you can kind of rewind the stream or whatever. But I did talk about Shogun.
Into $1 billion blockbuster could not be ignored. While every other studio still tries to emulate that success, none of them have been able to replicate it. Marvel Studios was a disruption not seen in decades. David Maisel, the mastermind behind the studio, theorized that the age of movie stars was over, and that intellectual properties, like superheroes, were more profitable than anyone who played them.
I mean, he's kind of right. He's kind of right.
He was proven right.
Anthony Mackie isn't a movie star. The Falcon is a movie star. And that's what's weird. It used to be with Tom Cruise and Will Smith and Stallone and Schwarzenegger. When you went to the movies, you went to go see the Stallone movie. The evolution of the superhero has meant the death of the movie star.
The Walt Disney Company saw the potential of the Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I think that's true. I think there's some people that still have big profile. But, you know, it's kind of funny. It reminds me a little bit of what Natalie Portman said recently. We talked about this. Even Natalie Portman, she's like, yeah, movies, it's not really the thing anymore. It doesn't hold that same place in pop culture. And a lot of it's like either streamers or YouTubers that hold that kind of a place in at least the collective consciousness of like the younger generations, right? So kind of interesting.
Marvel brand, and especially the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For the very low price of $4 billion, they purchased Marvel Entertainment in 2009 when the MCU was only 2 films in. Paramount would still distribute Iron Man 2 and 3, Thor, and Captain America. The rest would be all Disney's. It was a win-win scenario for both sides. Marvel Studios would maintain their creative freedom, plus an enormous financial backing, and Disney would finally have a brand that reached a predominantly male demographic.
True.
After the sale, David Maisel cashed out and left Marvel.
Interesting.
Marvel Studios went full bore into their next phase. An offhanded remark made by their studio head and MCU architect, Kevin Feige, that soon became the series' official phrasing. Since Avengers writer-director Joss Whedon delivered them a film beyond their wildest dreams, Marvel immediately signed him to a wide-reaching creative contract. Not only would he write and direct another Avengers film, but he had options to develop for Marvel Television and was allowed to pass on all scripts leading up to Avengers 2. Marvel.
Okay, so that's why he does a lot of touch-ups on everything. That's really interesting. I didn't know that deal extended like that.
Also established a writers program, where young screenwriters were given properties to develop and occasionally help with on-set script rewrites. Started in 2009, the group was already eyeing Blade, Moon Knight, Luke Cage, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. By the next year, Feige was asking for Black Panther, Iron Fist, and Doctor Strange. Marvel was playing the long game. One of these writers was Drew Pearce. He was working on an adaptation of Runaways, about a handful of teenagers who discover their parents are supervillains. The project was eventually shelved, and Pearce's internship came to an end. Out of work, Pearce sent an unsolicited pitch to Marvel, detailing his thoughts on how they should do a third Iron Man. Feige didn't care for any of those ideas, but appreciated his passion for the character and gave Pearce the job of writing the threequel. In July of 2012, Feige announced Phase 2, starting with Iron Man 3.
What a
Jon
stinker.
Favreau wasn't interested in returning as director. Both Iron Mans were incredibly difficult productions, because, among many things, neither had finalized scripts but hard release dates. And
Yeah, so that's something I bring up all the time. Neither one of the Iron Man movies, Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 2, had a completed script when they went to shoot them. So a lot of the stuff we talk about nowadays, because Marvel's sort of shifting. They're shifting into being more like a traditional movie studio. This is something that Brad Wonderbaum has talked about a lot. Kevin really hasn't talked about this too much, but that's what's happening. And the thing that's weird is the Marvel system was always really convoluted and crazy. They got lucky in a lot of ways because it worked early on, despite all the craziness that I'm sure this video is going to go into. That's just the reality of the system. So the system was always shaky and they're spinning plates. Sometimes it would work, and then other times it would definitely not.
And Marvel's CEO, Ike Perlmutter, was upset that Favreau fought for a raise on Iron Man 2, and subsequently was passed over for directing the Avengers, a job he wanted.
God damn it, Ike Perlmutter. God damn it, Ike Perlmutter.
The character no longer lit a fire under him, and he chose to hop on Disney's never-realized Magic Kingdom film. In his stead, Robert Downey Jr. suggested Shane Black. Not only did he write and direct Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the film that made Favreau suggest Downey as Tony Stark.
No, I think he means that when you say picture it inside your head, okay, is that a bullet will be inside your head or picture it in your head? Like form an image. He's got a point.
But Black gave mid-production screenplay suggestions for both Iron Man 1 and 2.
Oh, interesting.
As soon as Black was hired, he was paired with Drew Pearce to iron out a third film. This was news to Black. He assumed he would be the sole writer. Marvel had to convince him to give it a week. The two men immediately hit it off.
Wow. Can I just say, sir?
Yeah.
I'm your biggest fan.
Feige suggested the two finally introduce Iron Man's longtime nemesis, the Mandarin.
Which I think was originally going to be in the first Iron Man movie, right? Kind of interesting.
However, Feige wanted them to avoid the villain's earlier racist depictions, as well as making it palatable for Chinese censors. This led to Black and Pearce deconstructing the very idea of how the media creates boogeymen. So the Mandarin became a literal focus group shell designed to stoke fear in Americans.
The definition of Mandarin is not the king, it's the kingmaker. The guy behind the throne who sort of runs things from behind the scenes and whispers in the king's ear. That's perfect. You've got a villain who's behind the scenes, who sort of created this image of what he wishes or wants. All his evil impulses go into this creation that he never has to be under fire himself. And that was kind of fun.
In retrospect, the casting of Sir Ben Kingsley as the fake Mandarin proved to be beyond inspired.
What are you, decoy? You're a double, right?
Well, I mean, not study. No, absolutely not. Don't hurt the face. I'm an actor.
Filming started in May of 2012 and went well for a few months before things began to fall apart. In August, Downey became overzealous on a stunt and broke his ankle.
He had to do a stunt where he had to jump from one platform down to another platform and be on a cable, and they wanted to rehearse it, and he said, no, I don't need to rehearse it. And he jumped, and the guy holding the cable wasn't quite sort of ready or something, and he landed hard, and he broke his ankle. So the film sort of shut down for like 5 or 6 weeks.
When Downey came back, they shot as much as they could with him being stationary before moving on to bigger things. During his absence, though, Marvel relied on visual effects supervisors to ascertain everything they could capture without him, and even replaced a body double's head for the final scene. But in September, one of their go-to VFX houses, Digital Domain, filed for bankruptcy. Thanks in no small part to the predatory stranglehold Disney and Marvel themselves have on the visual effects industry. Digital Domain finished a handful
of... hang on. This is one of those situations where, like, should we stop watching this video because Josh wants to eventually work for Marvel, or is it already too late and I'll never work for Marvel and let's just keep going and understand the drama? Is it too late already? Is there no... do I have no shot? It's too late? Fuck it.
Of scenes for Iron Man 3, like the skydiving sequence, but their biggest task was the climb.
So, by the way, let's just unpack that a little bit. We've talked about this before. The idea, what he's describing here, is the fact that Marvel probably accounts for 70 to 80% of the big gigs that all of these studios have. So what that means, and this is why Victoria Alonso was fired, because she was like playing kingmaker and being super political, and if you pissed her off or you did something wrong, you just wouldn't get big contracts anymore. So it's one of those situations where Disney has, a lot of companies do this, right? A lot of companies do this, but Disney has been in that position for a long, long time, operating in that sort of space. If you don't play ball with us, you're not getting the money anymore. You're not getting the contracts anymore. So that is something that has kind of more recently come to a head. You have discussions of like unionizing. You've got a lot of discussions about it. At the end of the day, though, the reason that these studios put up with this shit and they put up with the crunch, they put up with Marvel being like, hey, do this, fix it, all that is because they make up 80 to 90% of, or 70 to 80% of all of those big gigs. So you've got to do what they say in order to keep getting those gigs, right?
Climactic Iron Legion sequence, and they couldn't even keep the lights on. Weta Digital was left to pick up the pieces.
Whatever.
Also in the midst of their Downey downtime, Black and Pierce were forced to rewrite portions of the film to appease Kevin Feige's boss, Ike Perlmutter. Important sidebar for clarification. The New York-based Marvel Entertainment runs all things Marvel. Comic books, merchandising, games, TV shows, licensed films, and Marvel Studios, the California film company behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Disney may have bought Marvel, but at this point in time, only Marvel Entertainment controlled their movie productions. The man at the top was Ike Perlmutter, a shrewd CEO known for maximizing profits through extreme cost-cutting measures.
Yep.
As the MCU grew more and more expensive, Perlmutter tightened his grip on Marvel Studios. At first it was nickel and diming office supplies, then it was lowballing filmmakers' salaries, then it was straight up demanding script changes. His main method of doing this was through the Marvel Creative Committee, a group of multiple...
Oh my God, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here, okay? So a lot of people remember this Marvel Creative Committee, and a lot of people, like even myself, I think at a face value, it's an interesting concept, and I think it's a good concept. You want the people that have helped to shape these stories and been a part of shaping them in comics for years and years and years. Why wouldn't you want those people to at least be sort of a board you can bounce ideas off of and get, you know, that kind of stuff handled? Ironically, though, because of the way this was structured, the death of the creative committee had more to do with Ike Perlmutter and the way he was trying to control the studio than it did, like, let's actually interface with the comics. Kind of interesting.
High-level Marvel employees, overseen by Alan Fine, president of Marvel Entertainment and right-hand man to Ike Perlmutter. The committee originally formed as a way to maintain faithful adaptations, but they quickly grew into armchair filmmakers, requiring all scripts and their revisions to pass through their validation. Many of their suggestions were about connecting and building out the cinematic universe, sometimes to the detriment of a film, like how they shoved the S.H.I.E.L.D. plotline into Iron Man 2. And since it came from New York corporate, Feige had to abide by their notes and choose his battles carefully if he didn't agree. The frequent back and forth bred an ideological rift among the two coasts. Nowhere was this more apparent than the creative decisions forced upon the MCU for the sake of toy sales. Ike Perlmutter and Alan Fine made their fortunes in the billion-dollar toy industry, and that dictated what they wanted from the MCU.
Yep, I think that's
Marvel
true.
Studios wanted to make movies. Marvel Entertainment wanted those movies to sell toys.
Yep.
A famous man once said, "We create our own demons." Let's track this from the beginning.
When choosing their first films under their new studio, Marvel surveyed children to determine which properties elicited the most desirability from a toy perspective. It's no coincidence that the kids' top choices, an armor-suited Rocket Man and a hulking green monster, were the characters that kicked off the MCU. That mindset imposed countless decisions going forward.
Yeah, and like, look, here's the thing. I don't even think that's like a horrible, completely heinous way to do it. Because one of the things we talk about as fans and as being one of these nerds, right, is why are they doing stuff with certain characters that just, there's no appeal? And, you know, we look at characters like maybe Reva or Rose Tico or even to a degree Kang, and we're like, we look, and when we see them just sitting on the shelves where they don't like move, we usually bring that up as like, yeah, this is the studio not making smart decisions, right? So I think it's fair that that's actually a part of the conversation. But I also think if you allow the desire to sell toys to be the guiding force of how you make your movies, that's out of balance as well, right? So but it is interesting. These are like things we talk about a lot.
When Avengers was in pre-production, Perlmutter insisted on an all-male team, as girls historically don't buy superhero action figures. Feige and Joss Whedon successfully fought to keep Black Widow in the lineup. However, any of her...
Isn't that crazy? The dude was literally like, no, fuck Black Widow, man. I wonder how he feels about the female Silver Surfer. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, that is crazy. That is so crazy. Like, you can have a point and still be an asshole and still be, like, wrong and still take it too far. You know what I mean? Like, my God.
Her exclusive merchandise barely existed. Which brings us back to Iron Man 3. In the original script, the main villain was revealed to be Rebecca Hall's character, not Guy Pearce. Hall signed on, thinking as much. Yet Perlmutter and Fine blocked the idea because female baddies wouldn't sell toys. Throughout production, her and Stephanie Shostak's roles were severely diminished, with Hall being told they were simply going to kill her off before the third act. She hopelessly fought with Marvel to no avail, but negotiated at least one more scene with Downey. Even then, that scene was largely removed. On top of everything else, due to the production being co-financed by the Chinese company DMG Entertainment, Black had to shoot 4 pointless extra minutes exclusively for Chinese theaters, with plenty of product placement. Marvel never partnered with them again.
Honestly, I hate working here. They are so weird.
Iron Man 3 rocketed to theaters May 3rd, 2013.
Iron Man
Unquestionably
3,
better than
tough.
Iron Man 2. The third entry was amusing, inventive, mechanically sound, and the dynamic duo of Shane Black and Robert Downey Jr. will always be something worth seeing. Coming out of Avengers, Kevin Feige's biggest fear was whether audiences were willing to accept those same heroes returning to their own films. That fear was immediately crushed when Iron Man 3 grossed $1.2 billion worldwide.
Yeah, it is funny. It did still do pretty well, but I think a lot of us look back at that and we're like, ooh, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the start of the phase 2 downfall. You know what I mean? Because I personally can't stand that movie. I've tried it. I've tried many different times. I'm sorry. I cannot, bro. I just don't think it's good. I don't think it fits with the rest of the MCU.
Nonetheless, the legacy of the film really comes down to one's opinion of the Mandarin bait and switch. Those open to the idea found it refreshing and ballsy, and think the film is the best of the three. And those who despise it, really despise it.
Dude, if you've... Oh, man, you know what? I'm just going to say it. If you're a fan that thinks Iron Man 3 is the best Iron Man, you probably think Andor is the best Star Wars. And you're fucking wrong on both accounts.
Marvel knew it would be a controversial one, but they didn't expect how loud the fan backlash would become. Fortunately, for Marvel, Trevor Slattery, the actor pretending to be the Mandarin, was still alive. They initially filmed his death for the finale, but it was eventually cut. This loose end allowed Drew Pearce to write and direct the short All Hail the King, which conveniently retcons the twist by having an imprisoned Slattery get kidnapped by the real Mandarin. A plot that wouldn't resurface for nearly a decade.
Yeah, do you guys remember when they would do those little short films and like try to like explain stuff and like tie stuff together? It was kind of fun. I love Iron Man, but man, I can't defend Iron Man 3 at all. Yeah, no, same. I liked it, but def the worst of the three. Yeah, 100%. Had a couple of cool moments. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. Iron Man 1 is clearly the best one. And 2 is like, all right. It's kind of just a fun, rompy, fun, bumpy action movie. Iron Man 3 is like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Stay tuned for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in 8 years.
Shane Black was not involved with the short. Feeling a bit betrayed, he saw it solely as an apology to fans. A theory Marvel denies.
1 down. 5 to go.
If Marvel thought Iron Man 3 was hard, Thor 2 proved a never-ending assault of problem after problem. Director Kenneth Branagh was interested in returning, but the claustrophobic deadline without a known script was enough for him to leave Asgard.
Why do they keep doing that, dude? Why do they keep doing that? Why won't they finish the goddamn script?
While searching for a new director, Kevin Feige was inspired by how David Yates went straight from TV to 4 back-to-back Harry Potter films.
He did pretty good
Marvel
with
could
those.
tap into TV directors as a rarely used resource for talent. So they courted Brian Kirk after his work on Game of Thrones. He declined, but this led to Patty Jenkins, after a strong personal suggestion from Natalie Portman. Jenkins hadn't made a film since 2003's Monster, but again, her TV work, mainly the pilot to The Killing, was enough for her to be crowned Thor 2's director. The royal welcome didn't last long. Thor 2's script never reached a great place. It originally had Hela, the goddess of death, as the villain. So of course, Marvel HQ said no because, you know, toys. They had to pivot to Malekith, the Dark Elf. Don Payne started the script, but left after receiving a cancer diagnosis that would eventually claim his life.
Damn.
The film is dedicated to him. Robert Rodat gave it a whirl, then Christopher Yost, a writer's program alum, got it into...
Yeah. Christopher Yost. I talk about this dude all the time. One of the unspoken goats of the entire nerdy thing. Like, dude, always... His name is on so many good things, and he's always not that this is one of them, but his name is on a lot of good stuff, and he's constantly like fixing stuff up for sure.
To better shape. Jenkins read this and couldn't see herself making it work. She didn't care to play within the established MCU, which would be a recurring theme among prospective filmmakers. But what truly blocked her vision was that she wanted to make an action-light Romeo and Juliet style love story with Thor and Jane. The creative committee promptly said no. Again, how does that sell toys? They delayed the film to get things on track, but after only 2 months, Jenkins bailed, seeing the writing on the wall.
Yep.
Audiences wouldn't blame the bad script. Instead, it would be the fault of Marvel's first female director.
Yeah, and this was a smart move on her part, because I read several articles around the time, and her thoughts on it were pretty sound. She just didn't want to be blamed for it, basically. She was looking at what was going on, and she's like, this is a fucking shit show. And if I do this, they're going to blame the failure on the first female director. And so she bailed, and I think probably rightfully so.
If they hired any guy to do it, it was going to be no big deal. But I knew in my heart I could not make a good movie out of the story they wanted to do. And to Marvel's credit, on a movie that did not require a woman at all, they hired me. And so, I've always been super grateful to them, even though it didn't work out.
It was their loss, as Jenkins went on to direct DC's Wonder Woman, a legitimate cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Something Marvel wouldn't expect.
Yeah. The Wonder Woman movie, the first one, of course. So good. So good. But then, the next one happens, and we're all like, what? Patty, what?
Until Black Panther in 2018. This news did not sit well with Natalie Portman. She was ready to take a hiatus from acting, but was reinvigorated when Marvel hired Jenkins, hoping she could continue to elevate more women's voices in Marvel's mostly boys' club. However, when Jenkins left, Portman was livid.
That was for New York.
Hoping to mitigate the ordeal, Marvel invited Portman to help choose the next director, but she resigned to doing only what was contractually obligated of her. That same month, Marvel hired Alan Taylor, also because of his experience on Game of Thrones, among other prestigious TV work. Marvel wanted Taylor to bring that same rough realism to Asgard, yet Taylor had his work cut out for him. Since Captain America screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely had their Cap sequel in a good place and ahead of schedule, Feige tasked them with punching up Thor 2, mainly to streamline the plot before filming started. Even so, Taylor asked for more help, and Joss Whedon personally flew to the London set as they were filming.
And Joss was airlifted in at one critical point, much to my relief, and did a pass on a couple of scenes, and then airlifted out again.
Yeah, he did a lot of that stuff, man.
I mean, he sort of really brought those scenes to life. But I want to be clear that all of our writers are wonderful, and that was just one little thing that he came in to do for us.
Nope, they weren't all wonderful, and Joss saved your ass, and it's still not that good of a movie. Got it.
As things went along, the movie continued to checkbox every shit show production trope. Joshua Dallas was overbooked and was replaced by Zachary Levi. Composer Carter Burwell left over creative differences. Christopher Eccleston, who beat out Mads Mikkelsen and Benedict Cumberbatch for Malekith, regretted selling out to sit in the makeup chair for hours on end, a process he felt Marvel lied to him about. And Jamie Alexander fell down a metal staircase, pulling one shoulder out of socket, tearing the muscle of the other, slipping a spinal disc, and chipping 11 vertebrae.
What?
She had to sit out filming for a full month.
I've got this completely under control.
Is that why everything's on fire?
Then post-production upended it all.
Moosh, thanks
Taylor
for the bit.
loved the freedom he had during production, but once the edit started, he went from king to court jester. To Marvel, something was wrong with a very somber and dark film, front to back. Whether it was having Thor and Jane split at the end, or having Loki killed off for real, a choice that tanked with test audiences, the grittiness they wanted from Taylor was suddenly not what they wanted.
Interesting.
Multiple cuts later, a question remained. What was the movie even about?
Right.
Is there a point to all this? Because there really needs to be a point to all this. Right.
Marvel always schedules reshoots in the high likelihood a film demands them.
Yup.
When we schedule our films, we schedule the production period, and then we schedule the additional photography period. People don't ask us anymore because they know it's the system, but they would go, oh, what will you be reshooting then? And we go, we don't know. If we knew, we wouldn't do it. Reshoots are key to our films, starting with Iron Man 1. Because it's great, and we always say, you know, we're smart filmmakers at Marvel, but we're not geniuses. And the best way to give notes on a movie is to watch the movie. So we make
and you know what? Okay, so a couple of things you can kind of take from that. Number one, that's still their system. However, that system is changing a little bit. It's proven to be difficult to maintain that in Phase 4 and 5. Another thing is that is actually a big part of why there are so many leaks and spoilers for Marvel Studios, because they screen the movies so many times. Now, I think they're trying to change that as well. But I feel pretty strongly that a lot of the leakers and the scoopers are either studio executives or friends and family of studio executives that have access to these things via the screenings. Like, I know for sure that's at least some of them. And so, you know, around the time of Endgame, when the leaks really started coming out, a lot of people were confused, like, why is this happening? Why does this not happen on Star Wars? Why does this not happen, you know, with this company, with that company, etc.? That's part of the reason. They do a lot of screen testing. They want a lot of feedback. And I think that's generally good strategy. It's just that's kind of what it leads to this, basically.
the movie and then watch it and go, oh yeah, no, that's not right.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Reshoots were inevitable, but for Thor 2, they were going to be extensive.
Oh boy.
Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely, and Joss Whedon gave their suggestions for fixes, and Marvel concluded they'd need 35 days worth of additional photography.
Damn!
Most indie films are made in half that time. Feige saw Marvel as the best in the business. Now they were eating crow. They knew this was their fault, but they believed they could salvage it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where have we heard that before? Let's wind it back a little bit.
Feige saw Marvel as the best in the business. Now they were eating crow. They knew this was their fault, but they believed they could salvage it.
Please don't make them.
They knew it was their fault, but they believed they could salvage it.
It's worse.
Define worse.
Major plot points were catapulted or reversed, and the tone was lightened across the board, with more action, more Loki, more cameos, and a lot of Eccleston's Malekith getting cut. Idris Elba found it torturous and humiliating, especially after just betraying Nelson Mandela. And Portman didn't bother showing up. Her time with Marvel was done. Well, for now.
Stay tuned for Thor, Love and Thunder in 9 years.
Damn, 9 years?
7 months and 6 days.
Elsa Pataki, wife of Chris Hemsworth, stood in for Portman for the post-credits scene. And in one situation, three different actors were filmed in 3 different countries to be composited into a single frame.
What?
Feige calls it the 3-continent shot. Alan Taylor partially blames himself for not being a writer-director type that could change things on the fly, and chose to trust in Marvel's reworking process. But ultimately, he believes his initial version was better. He called the experience a retching tug-of-war, and the final straw was shoehorning in the James Gunn-directed mid-credit scene, for which Taylor wanted no ownership. Thor: The Dark World converged on theaters November 8th, 2013. Despite falling off the troubled production tree and hitting nearly every branch on the way down, the film came out competent? Or to quote Chris Hemsworth, it was meh. It's certainly entertaining and the performances are fun, especially Tom Hiddleston, obviously.
If Thor himself can come out and say that his second movie was meh and they're still making movies with him, then they can hire Josh. Okay? What have I said that's potentially more egregious or worse than that? Sheesh. By the way, I actually kind of like Thor 2. There's a lot of stuff I like in there.
But the story feels over-bloated, yet the villain half-baked, and there's an overall sense of paint-by-numbers filmmaking. This could be the example of a solo movie being a downgrade. Then again, the film grossed far more than the first Thor, with a total of $644 million worldwide. Today, The Dark World consistently lands at the bottom of MCU rankings.
True.
Something Marvel was keenly aware of.
We've talked about this before, but when the Marvels, they're going through it right now. And as I've said many times, they've already been through shit like this. I've seen what happened in Phase 2, and I saw them recover. So they can still recover.
Of moving forward with the character.
When do we start?
Nope. Skip this one for now.
Phase 2 for us was continuing the stories we'd started in Phase 1 and introducing new stories. We didn't want to be a studio that only made Iron Man films, or later only made Cap or Thor, or even just Avengers films. So it was important to us, and we always knew in Phase 2 we wanted to take another swing, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Deep inside the Marvel Studios offices, a member of the writers program toiled away. Screenwriter Nicole Perlman only had one uncredited role at Marvel. As their resident sci-fi geek, she rewrote all of Jane Foster's astrophysics technobabble in the first Thor. But it was time for her to adapt something of her own. Handed a list of potential comic properties and told by other studios that a woman will never be allowed to write a big-budget action movie, she gravitated toward the Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I want all of you James Gunn fans to pay attention to this part.
And we could choose which one we wanted to develop. And there was no guarantee that the movie would get made, but it was something they potentially could see making into a film. So Guardians was on the list, and I chose Guardians because it felt very science fiction in tone, and I loved the sort of funny vibe of the 2008 reboot of the comic, and it was just Guardians of the Galaxy from there on out.
Given absolute freedom, Perlman made the Mad Titan Thanos her primary villain, and the film's MacGuffin an Infinity Stone. Draft after draft, she mixed and matched until she found her favorite version of the team. Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Peter Quill, aka
Star-Lord. Who?
While Rocket was her personal favorite, Perlman worried it was going to be Marvel's Jar Jar Binks, an all-digital creation that fandom would collectively hate. But Kevin Feige thought Rocket was the key to it all. Perlman's script was beat for beat what is in the final film. From story points like Quill getting abducted while his mother dies and Groot sacrificing himself to save the Guardians, to the themes of Quill's connection to Earth via a cassette player, this one with 80s hits, and the overall idea that this was the origin of a family, not one hero. Perlman spent 2 years fine-tuning the script, never expecting it to be greenlit, and left Marvel. Then her script went up against Drew Pearce's Runaways for the creative committee to vote on which one would occupy Marvel's August 2014 release slot. Runaways was rejected, as a cast of teens of multiple genders and races would not sell, say it with me, toys. Guardians, on the other hand, screamed merchandising and was fast-tracked. Perlman came back for a few months, then Chris McCoy completed a short revision. Marvel had gone through 30 directors who never got the idea, especially after mentioning a talking tree and raccoon. Running thin, they heard an inspiring name when Joss Whedon recognized 4 filmmakers for elevating the superhero genre: Christopher Nolan, Sam Raimi, Jon Favreau, and James Gunn. Reason being, Gunn wrote The Specials, a low-budget comedy about a middling superhero group who fall apart after their toy line is unveiled. Managing that large, absurd ensemble is what Marvel needed. Problem was, Gunn didn't get the Guardians either. Stuck in traffic after the meeting, debating passing on the opportunity, Gunn started to relate to the outcast Rocket Raccoon and how his tragic backstory could ground the film.
Let's say that there is a talking space raccoon. Where did he come from? How could he be grounded? How could I feel real about this character? And I realized that this was the saddest creature in the world. This was a little guy who was taken, a little innocent animal, and turned into something he didn't ask to be, and was like nothing else in the universe. So he was completely alone.
Well, I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
To me, that's the seeds of the entire Guardians franchise.
And we wouldn't know how tragic
you, Jay.
for
No
another
worries,
9 years.
Stay tuned for Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
Yeah, Guardians 3 was really good. So Jay Law says, hey Josh, thanks for helping me. Sorry, but get in the collector Discord after all this time. Unity begin. Also, can I get a awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
James Gunn was a big question mark for Marvel. a writer-director known for riskier projects like the uber-violent Super,
Shut up, crime.
and the adult film parody series PG Porn. It was down to Gunn and future Marvel directors, Ant-Man's Peyton Reed, or Captain Marvel's directing duo, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Feige went with his gut and gave Gunn the pilot's seat. Gunn started with a rewrite, adding Nebula, completely reconceiving Yondu, and tying Perlman's music ideas into Quill's mixtape Keepsake. Additionally, Gunn returned to Quill's comic origins as a space prince, although Joss Whedon had him take it out because royalty made him less relatable. Moreover, Whedon didn't see Gunn's voice in the first draft, and encouraged him to push the envelope further.
With a record, I advised against trusting you here.
They got my dick message!
Whedon still did a dialogue pass on the script.
Yeah.
Gunn enjoyed the freedom that his film was largely separate
Bro,
from...
it is so crazy how much of Joss Whedon was still in all of this Marvel stuff. Like, I'm telling you, he was like working... He was doing so much. It's crazy.
The greater MCU. But it didn't mean that he was immune to the notes of the Marvel Creative Committee. They had him move Thanos to mere passing mentions and replace him with a smaller threat, Ronan the Accuser. Then during reshoots, they realized Ronan wasn't much of a threat and added the scenes of him defying Thanos. Gunn detests this messy process. It was the hardest material for him to write, and in the end, he doesn't really like anything with Ronan. Not understanding the script's tone, the committee also outright told Gunn to remove all the needle drops of 70s rock songs. Marvel had a formula. Why change it? Feige pushed back and never heard a response. The view from New York was that Guardians was too outlandish to succeed, so it wasn't worth worrying about. And if it did fail, it would give them more power to force Feige to follow their instructions.
Wow, how
So
about
production
that?
went by without many issues. Mark Ruffalo had to convince Josh Brolin that wearing a mocap suit would be worth the embarrassment. Zoe Saldana continually said no before Gunn gave her more to do than just silently stand around. And Gunn didn't get the casting suggestion of the 300-pound Chris Pratt until his audition.
So the only thing you did was stop drinking beer?
Yeah, I lost 50 pounds in 1 month.
How much beer were you drinking?
I know, right?
Had Pratt said no, it would have been Glenn Howerton.
What?
I came in
We were robbed.
there right, and I was polite, and I was nice to them, I was cordial, and they completely goddamn disrespected me. Little idiots! Idiots!
Initial test screenings weren't great, mostly because the VFX for Rocket and Groot were extremely rough. That said, Feige knew that they were on the right track when Pratt and the soundtrack received high marks. Reshoots, besides the Thanos stuff, were used to flesh out
He's
Drax'
talking about screening, getting high marks from screening. Again, they're screening the shit out of these movies.
character by elaborating on his backstory and his non-metaphor mindset.
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
As they neared the finish line, Feige and the rest of Marvel Studios suddenly grew very paranoid they were drinking their own Kool-Aid. It was a massive gamble. A virtually unknown property, an untested lead star, 2 fully CG characters, juvenile humor throughout, and no Avenger to market it with. Not to mention, comic book movies in space haven't had a great track record. Flying past its planned budget, costing a total of $232 million, they were too far along to do anything about it. It was time to face the music. Being the first female writer in the MCU, many outlets wanted to interview Nicole Perlman about her experience. She often praised Gunn's changes, as he added that irreverent humor she couldn't quite capture. But Gunn wanted that title card to read written and directed by James Gunn. And Perlman's contributions stood in the way of that. He began a subtle but ugly campaign of discrediting her work. Whether it was alluding to how the Writers Guild only gave her recognition since she wrote the first draft, or the rumors that he leaked info to fan-friendly sites.
You know what's funny? Like, and look, here's the thing. Obviously, Gunn and I have our beef or whatever, but I wonder if he, at some level, feels bad about this whole situation because, I mean, it was a long time ago. You know, people change. You kind of mature over time. And I know, like, in Joanna Robinson's book, she talks a lot about this because it was one of the things that, like, Gunn has really tried to sweep under the rug and ignore that he did this. But he did do this. Yeah, I just wonder if maybe he feels bad about it now these days, you know?
That he did a page 1 rewrite. The fight went into arbitration, where Perlman had to defend her work against Gunn's disinformation. When she handedly won, she threw a James Gunn party.
Yep, not only did she win arbitration, but she threw a big party, and it was a fuck James Gunn party, which is something that Joanna Robinson talked about in her book as well. Like, that, come on, man, that's kind of fucked up. Like, he literally took it to arbitration and pushed it this whole way just to discredit her work. Yikes.
Guardians of the Galaxy rocked out on August 1st, 2014, and was a surprising success. Critics and audiences alike couldn't resist the combination of charming leads, sly wit, zany tone, fantastic visuals, and an unexpected level of heart. It outperformed Marvel's predictions, grossing $773 million worldwide,
Great movie.
becoming the third highest grossing film of 2014. And that soundtrack the committee fretted over, it sold nearly 2 million copies.
Damn!
Feige said it was the best example of audiences validating their most esoteric instincts. In other words, it was proof of concept that Marvel could turn anything into gold.
And that is a problem. Hubris.
For now, Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe got off to a rocky start, and the worst was yet to come. Marvel had a monster in their own house, as the creative committee continued to suffocate their own creatives.
That's wild.
But as they say, the night is darkest just before the dawn.
True.
Oh wait, that's from Batman.
But it's also
it still
true.
applies. Hey, did you know you could watch part 4 right now?
Yeah, pretty good video. What do you guys think? It was in hindsight, but at the time, it was true. Yeah. I think some people, like I've heard, Todd McFarlane describe this as a false positive for Marvel Studios, and part of me agrees. And maybe it's less that they can make anything gold. Like maybe they could, but you also have to sort of be very fluid in the way that the audience is changing, the sensibilities are changing, even the technology is changing. You know what I mean? So, let's see here. Okay, I haven't heard from Rob yet. Maybe we'll just get Rob on Friday. You guys want to watch a little bit more? I mean, part 4 is probably... Watch part 2. Part 4 is probably long, huh? That's part 1. Does he have it in the description, maybe? I don't even see part 4 on here. What the hell? We can always watch this later.
Before Marvel was the...
Hang on, let's see. He probably has a playlist for it.
Before Marvel was the unstoppable...
The Making of Superman, Making of this, blah, blah, blah. Making MCU was a shit show, part 2. I don't see part 4. I don't even see it. I think part 3 might be the last one. Yeah, I don't know about that. Rob and Josh would make such a good podcast together. Yeah, we probably would. When you beefed with Gunn, you should have brought up this writer issue. I mean, I did in some of the streams and some of the videos. I think the first stream after it happened, I was just trying to explain. I was like, look, I like Gunn, but he has a history of doing kind of some sus shit, and it's not just the weird jokes. It's like, no, he's definitely tried to squash people. And not just that lady, by the way. I brought up this other thing where he was trying to hurt one of my journalist friends as well, right? I think ultimately, like, he's just a human being, and he's in an industry that, those sort of situations are, like, important. Like, for instance, like, what he did with the co-writer, was it fucked up? Absolutely. Is it in some ways just a product of that industry and what you need in that industry to, like, move your career forward? Sure. But I am pretty curious. Like, if I would just talk to him, I'd be like, dude, do you feel bad about that? Because I would probably feel bad about that. Part 4 link was in the other video. You scrolled past it. For real? What?
Before Marvel was the unstoppable behemoth that it is.
Part 2. What? Huh? I don't see it. Okay, so that's part 2.
With the overwhelming success of Iron Man, Marvel Studios proved that they were more than just the little engine that could. Their next ambitious target was producing multiple films that would assemble into a single team-up blockbuster. But getting there was nothing but growing pains. Marvel's design by committee philosophy and
yeah, so the part 3 was done 2 months ago. So I doubt part 4 is out. That was 2 months ago on part 3. Yeah. It's in the description? No way.
after the tremendous triumph.
No way. Oh my God, there's part 4. Oh, it's on Patreon right now. Well, we can wait. I was like, I don't see it, but that's because it's on Patreon. Yeah, it's on his Patreon. The thumbnail to this stream made me think Josh has joined ISIS. Really? Wow. This guy came out of the bushes just to say that. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I don't know. Maybe we call it there. You know, we've gone 2 hours. Time for a Star Wars shit show video. I mean, I don't know if he has any. I wonder if he has any about Star Wars. There's no shortage of that kind of content with Star Wars, I don't think. Yep. Star Wars video. Have a good day, Josh. See you. Thanks, man. It's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, right. Bad Batch reaction? I didn't watch Bad Batch. I'm like now officially 3 weeks behind on Bad Batch. Yeah. Poking the KK bear is always fun. Yeah. It's always fun. Yeah. No, it's all right. It's always fun. You know what else is always fun is this music right here. Chat was talking shit on it, but it's great. It's freaking great. Can we watch the video Star Wars Cannot Grow Up? How long is the video? Probably not today, but maybe we can watch it on Friday. What I think of episode 7? Wait, which episode? Yeah, it's 40 minutes. Hell no. Do we get happy editing now? Happy ending now? Wait, what? Nope. You get a sad ending. Can we never watch anything Star Wars related ever again? At least a couple of years? Yeah, we should probably do that. Should probably give it a rest, Yeah, hit me up on Friday. We'll see what we got going on, but we could probably do it. I mean, we could try to do it. They're all sad endings. Man, guys, you guys need to get a better vibe going on, man. You know? Like, life is good, man. Let's talk about life a little bit. It's like this never-ending series of adventures. And y'all ever read The Hobbit, man? You know? That's life. Like, every day, an adventure where you can go find a wizard and fight a dragon and a magic ring. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's good shit. Star Wars is life and Star Wars is bad. Therefore, life is bad. Can't really argue with that. That's pretty good. Dragons are real? Yeah. Duh. Didn't y'all know? Didn't y'all know dragons were real? Yo, throw a 1 into the chat if you think dragons are real. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Did I miss a chat with you and Rob? Nah, we'll probably have to delay that. Rob has not gotten back to me yet, so I assume he's still working on some stuff. And I'm tired. I'm dragging today. I need a little nap. Yeah, I need a little nappy time. What do you mean? Komodo dragons exist. Yeah, but I'm talking about like real ones. Fire breathing. Rain of Fire movie. Hell yeah, boy. Do I plan on uploading these streams to Apple or Spotify? I've thought about it. Yeah, I've thought about it. Coffee run? Dude, I've had so much coffee already, though. I feel like I just need a little nap. And then I can get some stuff done. For sure. Do you ever seen a Komodo dragon eat a whole goat? Crazy stuff. No, I've not seen it, but I imagine it's pretty wild. Pretty wild, for sure. For sure. All right, everybody. Hey, much love, guys. I appreciate you hanging out on a Wednesday. Sorry for the more lackadaisical stream, but I appreciate you guys being here, so thank you very much. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Hey, appreciate you guys. Thanks for the love, man. Thanks for chilling out on the stream. It's a nice little thing. You know, I was like really out of it today, but we still had fun. Still watched some cool videos. Got some edumacation. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Remember tonight, 7:30. For you members, you got some homework. We got some freaking Superman to talk about. That's going to be cool. No stream tomorrow, but we'll be back at it Friday morning, baby. Friday morning. So I'll see you then. Remember to open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butt hole. See you. Rob, I'm sorry. I'm fucking tired, man. That's my fault. Hey, we'll catch up later. We'll catch up later, Rob. I'm too tired. We'll do it on Friday. Appreciate you though, bro. That's it. It's no comeback. God damn it. I'm too tired, bro. I'm fucking tired, bro. Fucking tired, bro. I know. I told Rob I'd be here for several hours, but I dipped out after 2 because I'm too tired. I'm too tired. Rob, we can link up later. You know what I mean? We can link up later. All right, listen. All right, listen. Maybe we could do just a quick little call with Rob. Just a quick one. What do you think? What do you think, chat? Just a quick little call with Rob. And also, hang on, I got to get my hair fixed a little bit. Is that... It looks even worse. Oh my god. Dude, y'all don't know. Y'all don't know when you got curly hair. You don't know what it is. You don't know about that. You don't know about that life? Dude, people that left already are going to be so pissed. Uh-oh. Got a call. Somebody's calling. Hello?
Yo, you there?
I'm there. What's up?
Josh.
I'm here. Can you not hear me? Oh, wait. Hang on. Okay. I got to hit that thing. Okay. Now you should be able to hear me.
There you are.
All
I'm
right.
on my AirPods. I don't have my microphone set up.
It's all good, man. Yo, talk to me about this X-Men craziness.
Am I live on your chat?
You're live.
I called that shit, son.
You did.
I called that shit. I'm just saying it right now. I called it. I wasn't the only one, but I called it.
You did.
I called it. Now, you want to hear my theory on how I think it's going to go down?
Of course.
Okay. X-Men, the animated series. There are 2 story arcs that I think is going to explain all of this. Days of Future Past and One Man's Worth.
Okay, hang on. One second. So, did I imagine it or did I see Mohawk Storm from the Age of Apocalypse timeline with Wolverine in the credits of this, in the intro?
That is One Man's Worth. Yes.
Okay.
That's One Man's Worth.
That's what I thought. Okay, keep going.
All right. Josh's chat, everybody. I'm about to blow your all's minds. I really hope I'm right on this one.
All right, here we go.
Do you remember how those 2 story arcs connected to each other?
Not offhand, no. I mean, I know it's Cable, right?
No.
It's
so
not?
the way they played out originally is you had Days of Future Past, which basically said that like Bishop was raised when the Sentinels took over everything, yada yada yada. And the way that Bishop explained it, which was different from the comics, is he said that it started with an assassination, which we learned later on was Senator Robert Kelly.
Okay.
And that from Bishop's perspective, Kelly was assassinated by Gambit. Now, we learned that it was Mystique pretending to be Gambit, but it was believed that it was Gambit. So when the assassination happens, the mutant control law gets passed, the Sentinel program is started or kind of reinitiated, the Master Mold is made, Master Mold cranks out an army of Sentinels, and a group of humans, not the government, a group of humans end up taking control. They use the Sentinels to effectively track down, imprison, or kill mutants everywhere they can find them. Now, these individuals take the Sentinels and turn them against the United States government, and they seize control of the United States, North America, or whatever. Somewhere along the line, presumably, the Sentinels turn against their human leaders or whatever, controllers, and the Sentinels take control of the United States. And so by the time Bishop comes around, he's a tracker, right? So his job is to just like track down mutants and hand them over to Sentinels. The Sentinels turn against him when he meets his quota. So him and Wolverine are basically captured. Wolverine and the Resistance orchestrate an escape. Bishop goes to see Forge or goes to meet with Forge. He gets his time travel device, and he goes back to the modern day, stops Days of Future Past, the episode unfolds, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Wolverine leaves the Resistance at that point in time.
Yeah.
Then you go into One Man's Worth. Now, what One Man's Worth did is it was a continuation of Bishop's Days of Future Past story. And what One Man's Worth did is it revealed that because there was a resistance, you effectively got the plot of Terminator. That Master Mold ended up capturing Trevor Fitzroy or using Trevor Fitzroy to go back into the past and to kill Professor Xavier. Because the resistance was modeled after Xavier and the X-Men. So if there is no Xavier and there is no X-Men, there's no resistance.
Yeah.
So Trevor Fitzroy goes back. He assassinates Professor Charles Xavier. That changes the Days of Future Past timeline. So everything that happens in One Man's Worth, where like Magneto's the leader and like there really aren't any X-Men, it's just all these mutants fighting humanity and what are basically the Avengers. You get Black Widow, Ant-Man, all that kind of stuff. That's all the result of Xavier not existing.
Okay.
Right. So you still kind of have the resistance and that sort of thing. Anyway, that timeline is prevented and it goes back to Days of Future Past. Right? Now, Cable fits into all this because in X-Men animated series, he was just like in the year 4000, he fought Apocalypse. There was never any explanation behind like why they hate each other. We had to rely on the comics to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Here's what X-Men 97 is doing, right? Here's exactly what I think X-Men 97 does. X-Men 97 changes the origin of Cable, where it says that Bishop took Cable into the future. right? So obviously, Bishop takes Cable to his Days of Future Past timeline.
Yeah.
Cable joins the Resistance. He becomes a freedom fighter. Now, in this episode, are we allowed to do spoilers?
Yeah,
in this?
yeah. You're good.
Okay. So in this episode, right, like you have Cable who shows up and he like literally throws an EMP grenade.
Mhm.
And he tells Cyclops EMP grenades are the only ways to take those things down, meaning he has experience with Prime Sentinels.
Right.
Right? So he's fought Prime Sentinels before. Right?
Yeah.
Now, in one man's worth, when Trevor Fitzroy goes back in time to assassinate Xavier, Nimrod goes with him. Now, Nimrod is killed, quote unquote destroyed, and his time travel device is destroyed as well. But Nimrod can reconstitute. So between the changes of the timeline, yada yada yada, and all that kind of stuff, what it means is because Nimrod observed everything, when Nimrod gets sent back, he reconstitutes himself, but he gets sent back to Days of Future Past. So he tells Master Mold everything, right? Like, hey man, like I come from what's technically an alternate reality for you. But with everything that went on, you sent me back, the mission failed, all that kind of stuff. So the two of them rationalize they're greater than the sum of their parts. They merge. You can use any number of other reasons behind it, but Master Mold and Nimrod merge, just like in the comics, they give us Bastion. So like a whole new war ensues.
Right.
Right. And it's kind of like, okay, like so now by whatever manner, whatever means, Bastion ends up in the present day. I don't know how they can make it work in any number of ways. But Bastion's been here the whole time. Because if you trace the timeline of X-Men the Animated Series, one, we know he's been here because of the picture with Forge. But two, all this stuff, right? Like all this stuff is all traced with Bastion. Because if you go back and you watch X-Men the Animated Series, all these things happen, but there's seemingly no interconnection there. They just kind of happen, for whatever reason, right? So Forge tells Storm in Life Death Part 1, I just created the framework for the mutant inhibitor collars. They were developed by a scientist out in Scotland. That's Dr. Adler, right? That's Gottfried Adler.
Sure.
We never actually met Gottfried Adler. We just saw him after Mystique and Apocalypse killed him and then replaced him.
Yeah.
But he was in the episode The Cure, right? So he creates the inhibitor collars, right? So Bastion's behind the scenes. Bastion tells Forge, I need something that can, affect mutants or whatever it is. Forge said he was pissed off and in a really bad place. He develops the idea of inhibitor collars.
Sure.
That inhibitor collar technology is developed by Dr. Adler. It's taken from Dr. Adler, and it's given to Henry Peter Gyrick and the leader, the colonel, whatever you want to call him, from X-Men the Animated Series. Because Genosha is the first time they're used. It's the first time they're tested.
Right.
Right? What is it? Slave Island. That's the episode from X-Men the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tested there. And then in turn, like it proves to be successful. Now, you really want to push that to its most logical conclusion. When the assassination happens in Days of Future Past, and those humans seize control of the Sentinels and then use them to overtake North America, those are Prime Sentinels. They're Sentinels that look like humans.
Sure. Okay.
Right? Because literally that's what Bastion did in the comics, right? In Operation Zero Tolerance, OZT, and Operation Zero Tolerance, he used nanites to convert humans into cyborg Sentinels that did whatever it is that you told them to do. So what you saw with Bolivar Trask is exactly how it played out in the comics.
Nice.
Right? So literally, Bastion is just from Bishop's timeline. That's how Cable has experience with it. And in turn, he found a way to travel back to the present day and has basically been here the entire time. Launching attacks, different things like that. Because like and if you take you don't really do a one-to-one comparison between Operation Zero Tolerance in the comics and the TV show, but all the pieces more or less line up, right? In the comics, it was the assassination of Graydon Creed, the father of Sabretooth and the anti-mutant guy who was running for president. That furthered the rift, right? I mean, like, if what's going on here is what I think is going on here, there's a lot more betrayal than you think, because President Robert Kelly, he's in on it. He's not a Prime Sentinel, but like he approved, like everything that went on, like the attack in Genosha, all that kind of stuff. That's all government sanctioned.
Right, but it's government sanctioned while working with Bastion, right?
Yes, exactly. Because the way that Operation Zero Tolerance. Okay, how familiar are you with Project Wide Awake in Marvel Comics?
Not really familiar. No.
Okay, so Project Wide Awake, the way that Marvel did it is they retconned it and said it was because Blue Marvel popped up on the scene. But regardless of whether it's Blue Marvel or the original, mutants were perceived as a credible threat by the federal government, right? Just unpredictable powers, who knows what might happen, yada, yada, yada. So Project Wide Awake was a two-pronged measure by the Fed. It was contain and control. The control aspect came in the form of like controlling the news media, right? Like what the general public sees.
Right.
So that's why you never saw stories in the news where it's like mutants, the X-Men resurrect or save some cat from a tree or something like that. And all they ever showed were just really crappy things that the mutants were doing because it maintained that idea that mutants were a credible threat. The other part of it was containment, and containment came by way of Bolivar Trask, right? So Project Wide Awake as a whole was a federal initiative, spanned multiple presidencies, starting with Kennedy, involved the FBI, the CIA, state and local sheriff's offices, the whole 9 yards. But Bolivar Trask's Sentinel program was designed to contain the mutant threat by presenting a credible kind of enemy to mutants that could destroy them, capture them, so on and so forth. Bolivar Trask gets defeated. He's presumed dead. The program's handed over to Stephen Lang, no relation to Scott Lang, Ant-Man, and he continues it on. Right, this has been going on and on and on and on for decades. And every step of the way, by whatever manner and whatever means, mutants prove to be able to overcome Project Wide Awake.
Okay.
And so eventually it gets to the assassination of Graydon Creed, right, which was basically done by Bastion. And it was just kind of like a false flag operation, because when that happens, it's such a high profile thing. President Robert Kelly's just like sign off on Operation Zero Tolerance. And it gives Bastion all the resources he needs to attack the entirety of the mutant population. And he almost kills everybody. It comes down to like Iceman and like some hodgepodge mutant group to basically win. Right. But like, I mean, Bastion takes the Xavier Institute. He captures most all the X-Men. He tortures Jubilee to give him the information that he needs. And based on what you saw, right, with the end of this, replace Jubilee with Magneto and Dunza, right? Like you have Operation Zero Tolerance. Right. But instead of the assassination of Graydon Creed, you get the death of Xavier, basically. Right.
So,
or like the attack on Genosha or something along those lines.
So we've got this like 3-part ending coming up, right? And basically with all of that, it seems like what they're going to do is have this sort of like multi-layered thing going on where they're going to try probably, I think like the reason he's got Magneto is he probably wants to use Magneto, either use some of like that controlling technology or use him in some way to further the conflict between mutants and humans. And so like if everybody's in on it, then it's just like a big escalation thing to force this sort of war to like make the mutants an unsympathetic side of that war, basically, right?
Yes. Okay. So here's the part that's going to blow your mind.
All right, let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
Referencing back to Nimrod. Yeah. Right. Nimrod ends up in Days of Future Past. Nimrod tells, Maxwell everything that's going on. They realize an outright assassination of Professor Xavier is not going to work. Right. Because of guys like Bishop or Cable or whatever, they'll just go back and stop the assassination from happening. So what better way to ensure the destruction of the mutant population than to turn all of society against them? How do you stop that?
Yeah, you can't.
How does a time traveler? You can't. Right. So here's what they do. Right. Here's what you do if you are Bastion. Right. When they were going through the room, you saw all those cyborgs that were there, and they thought it was Sinister. Right. You see all those like primitive cyborgs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We know that Bastion can create Prime Sentinels. Bastion has Magneto. Why not just create Prime Sentinel versions of the X-Men? It's not the first time that's happened. And in fact, that happened in the lead up to the Phoenix saga in Marvel Comics. When Stephen Lang first showed up, like Uncanny X-Men was like 98 or 99 or something along those lines.
Okay, yeah.
Like in the lead up to that, right, when Stephen Lang captures half the X-Men and the other half go to his satellite platform in order to fight him, and that all leads into Jean Grey becoming the Phoenix and everything, they fought cyborg versions of the X-Men.
Oh my God.
And they were so convincing. Yeah, they were so convincing, they didn't realize that it wasn't their teammates, that they were robots. Eventually, they figured it out. Now, have Bastion create cyborg versions of the X-Men and unleash them onto the world, right?
Yeah.
Because Magneto had that great, big, huge, grandiose speech. Cyclops had that moment where he was talking to Trish Tilby, where he's like, be glad that we're not you. Otherwise, we would have just destroyed you. The stage is set, right? Like, Genosha happened. Everybody's waiting for the mutant population to retaliate. That's literally what Captain America said.
You're right.
Everybody's afraid mutants are going to strike back.
Yeah.
So then Bastion just unleashes mutants, right? They're robots. They're not actually the X-Men, but just unleashes them onto the public. They just start causing panic and pandemonium and all that kind of stuff. This is after the X-Men are captured and defeated. There's no one coming out and saying those are not the X-Men. The world thinks that mutants have gone rogue. They really are a credible threat. Passed the Mutant Control Act. Senator Robert Kelly puts it through. Operation Zero Tolerance, right? And so you don't need the assassination of Senator Robert Kelly to cause Days of Future Past. The X-Men do it on their own.
Right.
And that's when Bastion seizes control, and that's when you get the Days of Future Past timeline. It's how he wins. Long game.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Decades. So if we can probably assume with Sinister being involved as well, that maybe it's like a kind of combo thing where it's like a clone / mechanical creation of the X-Men, because like Sinister can clone X-Men, you know what I mean? He can clone mutants. So maybe it's something like that. Yeah, that's pretty freaking wild. So do you think that it'll end it with like the Avengers teaming up with the actual mutants and trying to stop them? I mean, how do you think this is going to go down? Because it's a 3-parter, and it's like, I don't see how they overcome that. I think because he even knows about Charles and stuff. So like, even if Charles like comes back, like that's bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know how it unfolds. And honestly, a part of me doesn't want to know. Like I kind of don't want to guess.
Yeah,
I just want to be surprised and just be like, damn, like this is really going to be dope. But
you think because it could be Hope maybe, because they kind of name drop some stuff about Hope. Like, dude, there's so many things they could pull from.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to do like Hope Summers or anything like that. I think like Storm is going to be a major. She's going to be a major force in this.
Yeah,
because in Marvel Comics, within the last within the last 2 years, like Storm has just become an absolute hoss. They're not building her up in the comics for no reason.
Right.
Yeah, right. Like obvious, it's feeding into to what the MCU is doing. But to the question about Sinister, I think Sinister's role in all this is simple. Right. Like, who knows more about mutant genes than Sinister?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're gonna perform a task, hire the expert, the person best suited to do it. But man, like I'm so excited to see where this goes. Like I'm so excited to see how this unfolds, because that's how I think that Bastion wins. Is I think instead of assassinating Senator or President Robert Kelly, or instead of killing Xavier in the past or anything like that, I think it's just we literally just set in motion a series of events that make the X-Men look like really crappy people, right? Or make we set in motion a series of events that position the X-Men to where they would want to strike back. Then we make a great big huge strike. We set the stage to where humanity's just waiting for the X-Men to attack, or for the mutant population to attack. Then we send out fake X-Men. The fake X-Men attack just like humanity knew they would, and that's when you get zero tolerance. That's how it all comes together.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that sounds fucking epic. And yeah, so you were right, and chat was pretty bummed because one of them wanted to get $1,000 from you. But other than that, yeah, no, I think that the whole situation's cool, man. And we're all really excited to see how it all finishes out. So 3 episodes left, man, because I feel like this is basically just setting the stage, right? Like we're basically just getting to the thing now, and we'll see how they figure it out. And then I think they're definitely doing season 2. So I wonder if all of this just sets up the status quo for season 2, right?
Actually, I don't know. I think that this entire event is going to be wrapped up like Bastion's, because I mean, in Operation Zero Tolerance, President Robert Kelly was just like, "Yeah, I changed my mind," and he sent S.H.I.E.L.D. in, and S.H.I.E.L.D. just shut everything down, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
That was it, right? It just
maybe that's what they'll do, but like with the Avengers, that would be kind of tight.
Yeah, to have like the Avengers and the X-Men team up. I think it'll all come down to Kelly. He's just going to be like, "Nope, shut it all down," and like I mean, I think it'll be a big battle and that kind of thing. And I think what they'll look at is they'll say like, "Look how massive this battle is. Like, look at what you've done."
Yeah.
You know, and Senator Robert Kelly will be like, "You know what? You're right. You know, I shouldn't have done this. You know, we're gonna end the whole thing." I think and this I need to specify, because I was not the first person to come up with the idea of Bastion, and I wasn't the only one saying that it's Bastion. A lot of people were saying that it was Bastion, right? So I need to specify that, credit where credit's due. But like a lot of other people are saying now, I'm not the only one saying this. I think the quote unquote post-credit scene, more or less, for season 1 is going to be that Gambit's alive. Gambit was taken by Apocalypse. Gambit is the Horseman Death.
Ooh-hoo.
And I think that the ending of season 1 is going to be like Gambit being turned into the Horseman by Apocalypse.
That would be
That's how it played out with Archangel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, if you want to see how it played out with Gambit, or how it's likely going to play out with Gambit, go read The Fall of Mutants.
Fall of Mutants.
Well, Fall of Mutants, just the X-Men version, because Fall of Mutants was a big crossover, but every group had their own individual story. The X-Men tie-in for Fall of Mutants, no, I'm sorry, the X-Factor tie-in for Fall of Mutants is what you want to read. That deals with Archangel and everything.
Nice.
But like, that's likely what's going to happen with Gambit. Like, he's just going to be revealed as the Horseman of Apocalypse, roll credits, and that's going to be a major plot point for season 2.
That would be sick as hell, dude, because I love Gambit, but the idea of a Horseman Gambit, that's even more badass. And I think we will get a little Avengers in the end here, because I mean, Cap says like his team's ready to strike and stuff. So dude. I mean, I think you're probably spot on, and dude, we'll just see. It's gonna be a visual feast and a storytelling feast in these next 3 weeks. I'm pretty excited, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Here's a question you have to ask: what happens if it comes down to Avengers versus X-Men?
Well, I mean, unless they got some real nice Avengers, I think it's probably X-Men. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, look, at this point, who would they have to even stand in the way? Unless Tony Stark is getting in on it too and making some Stark level sentries or something. That would be kind of wild. But
Stark Sentinels,
yeah. I don't know, man. I'd probably have to give it to the X-Men for sure on that one.
Yeah, but I think you and I can both agree, because you made a good point in the last time that I think it was a buddy of mine, Victor. Well, you know Victor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told Victor about Unity, by the way. I was like, nice. You need to go, like, you need to read this. Like, I sent him the comic and everything. I was like, you got to read this, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm thinking about hitting him up too, and I'm like, dude, we should all work on something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
he remembers who you are. He was like, yeah, I remember Josh. Like, Josh was a really cool guy. So yeah. But
that's cool.
He made a really good point. I think it was, I don't remember if it was him or you, but they were like, it brings back one thing that I miss the most about the MCU, which is theory crafting.
Yeah, dude.
And like this show is this is hands down the best the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been in years.
I agree.
Like,
I 100% agree. Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yep, I agree, brother. It's an embarrassment of riches. Well, dude, we should link up sometime and talk some Deadpool and Wolverine too, because there's some crazy stuff being told or rumored out there for that movie, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that too. But
I'm pretty sure I know exactly how that plot unfolds. But yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah. Maybe we'll chime on either Friday, or we can link up next week or something. I've been told some
I'm tied up on Thursday. So.
I've been told some really crazy stuff that I think is true, and I'm trying to decide how to talk about it and reveal it. But I'm excited for that.
I won't watch your video. Like I love you to death. I'm not going to watch it when you're talking about that, because I want to go into it blind. So what I want to do, I want to run my theory by you when we meet, like when we talk again. And then I want you to tell me what it was that you were told, to see how close it is.
Yeah,
because I like to make these theories without reading anything.
Dude,
just
I
ignoring
feel the
everything.
same way. You know what? I feel the same way, man. And to be honest with you, I blocked a bunch of the scoopers, because like
man.
Yeah, I blocked a bunch of them, and yet the ones that I still talk to, I still feel like I'm in. Like, I honestly feel like I'm still in the room with all of these scoopers, because, and I get it, because like when you know something and you hear somebody talking about it, you're like, oh, actually it's this, and they just want to share what they know and they're like excited about it. But it does kind of kill the theory crafting, you know, because like you'll be like, oh, well, what if this, and they're like, that's not what happens, and you're like, god damn it, you know. I'd rather just think about it. But yeah, that sounds like fun. We can do that for sure.
The only person I haven't really blocked is Matt. Like I still watch his stuff and like listen to like the scoops and things that he has, but everybody else, like I was like, no. But dude, like I mean, like, have you talked to Matt Scoops?
Oh yeah, no, we've texted before for sure. I love that kid, man.
Yeah. We should try to grab like Matt at some point.
Yeah, no, we should definitely get him in here. Look, I really like that guy a lot. I probably shouldn't call him kid, but I'm much older than him. But
no. I mean, I'm older than Matt, dude. I'm like 20 years older than Matt or something like that. Yeah.
No, but I really like cool Soups, man. He's a cool dude, and he's just out there doing his thing. I know he's really excited about a lot of this too. But it would be crazy. Sit down with all three of us. That would go pretty hard. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah. I need to call him or send him a text or something, because I haven't asked him about X-Men 97 yet. Like, I need to know what his thoughts are. So but that's cool. Yeah, we'll get together about Deadpool and Wolverine, man. Yeah, because I really want to run that theory by you, and I want to hear your thoughts. So.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you coming on. Sorry, I was a little tired today. But
no, you're good, man. You're good.
All right, brother. You take care, man.
Yep. Later, dude.
Later, brother. All right, chat. Don't say I never did nothing for you, you know? Rob. Giving us the goods. Giving us the goods. Yeah, talk about a W post-credit scene, huh? That's probably the craziest post-credit scene we've had in a long time. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. All right, guys. Hey, much love. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to get out of here tonight, 7:30. I'll see you guys then. And, I'll see you guys Friday morning, too, all right? Take care. Much love.